Clear the table, grab the dice. Grizzly and Jesse are in the house. Welcome to Rolling Recklessly, where the battle lines meet the sky. May your crips be high, may your pain never dry, and your rolls be ever reckless.
Clear the tables, grab your dice. Grizzly and Scarecrow are back in the mortal realms, and this week we are celebrating 50 episodes of Rolling Recklessly. Welcome back to the Warhammer podcast, where the dice are hot, the takes are hotter, and no faction is safe once we get rolling.
And apparently I'm here to get blindsided by whatever you decided to put on the docket today.
That is exactly right, brother. This is episode 50. 50 reckless AoS takes. Each brought 25 takes to the table. We have not seen what the other guy is bringing, and every other one of them might land where we're going to either agree, disagree, or maybe it's 50-50.
Alright, so we're either going to give you a lot of AoS wisdom here, or a step-by-step guide on how to get cooked for a few hours.
I think you're looking at both, man. We've got 5 topics, 10 takes in every round, and no faction, unit, list, hobby habit, or tournament opinion is getting a free pass. But before we start firing off, let's catch up on where things have been around the mortal realms in This Week in Sigmar. Alright, Scarecrow, before we start throwing reckless takes around, let's catch up on this week. For me, I didn't really get as much hobby time as I necessarily wanted, but I did get a little bit. I did finally get into my Agrodons. We got our practice game in on Tuesday. I really enjoyed that, man. What about you? What have you worked on?
Yeah, so, I've been looking at some of the Scourge of Akshi War Scrolls, and there's a really nice one for the Mortis Reapers, and I had a box of those just lying around in my house, so I was like, alright, time to get these ninjas painted up and built. So I built those up, and they're just such a cool looking unit, bone ninjas. Got the cloaks and daggers and sickles and little smoke grenades, and they're just one of the cool new range, models that the army got when we got our book. But yeah, so, I got those based and built, and I'm looking forward to start painting those up. Last week we had our pledge of, getting a unit or two done in the army that we're currently playing. So I think we're all taking it seriously and making those steps. But yeah, it's gonna hopefully get these Mortis Reapers built and painted and done. And I've got so many horses, Cavallos Death Riders. I've got a giant catapult to paint. Like, there's just so much. I'm thankful that I'm selecting these armies that are like simpler to paint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you on that one. I'm very excited. I think you're right, because like some of them are like super complex. Some of the models you see, they have like so much like different like little like regalia and trophy that are hanging off of them. Yeah. I didn't see the Mortis Reapers really. Like, I saw them, but I didn't actually get to I didn't really pay attention too much to them. And then once I seen you sent that picture, you sent it in the chat of like you finally got it.
Yeah, primed and built.
Yeah, so you got it primed and built, and it's like it looked good. And then that was like the first time I kind of like looked at the models themselves. Yeah. I'm like, oh, dude, these are like ninja skeletons. These are sick. I didn't realize that's what they were. I knew actually their rules before I even knew what like the models looked like. For the most part, I was like, oh, these are guys that teleport through the terrain.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think like now with Scourge of Akshi, having some movement tech is really important towards scoring your tactics really early on.
Correct.
I feel like the game is kind of built right now to where things aren't really lasting the whole game. So if you can get the pieces in place and get the points early on, then it's just kind of like playing keep away or stay away from. And yeah, it's I know that Scourge of Akshi is still new, and it still hasn't got its like footing yet, and only a handful of tournaments have gone off. But
we're like 1 month deep now, right? Like just over a month?
For sure. And man, I think I'm saying it every week. I just feel like it's so much to unpack. It was good to have our little training game where we sat and talked about deployment and talked about scoring those early game tactics. It's really going to help this season. So yeah, I feel like, too, when you're hobbying a unit, it kind of incentivizes you to use it, right? You're like, I'm putting all this time into these Mortis Reapers, building them and painting them.
Now I painted these. Now I'm going to play them for sure.
Now I got to use them for sure.
I hope their rules are not completely awful.
For sure, yeah.
After you painted them.
So I'm hoping there's some of that. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. Man, I just feel like there's not enough time in the day when you work full time and you have family and kids. We talked about it last week, being a dad and playing Warhammer. It can be time consuming, like trying to paint an entire army. So I'm gonna take it one unit at a time, 5 models at a time, one MSU at a time, and it's starting with these Mortis Reapers. I'm gonna make them shine.
You know what? I think that's kind of really the key here. To get in like that. People get burnout and stuff. But me and you both, we're fighting for time as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to raise a kid and have like a family. You got to go to work. Like real world, like really applies, and it's hard to like put a time. Like side time for like painting models and playing and stuff. So it's like really nice that we do get that opportunity. For me, I've actually like been trying to get some time in. I got some hobbying done. I painted so far. I painted 3 of my the Agrodon, the riders, the companions, not the riders, the companions themselves. The actual like Agrodons. I've got them right now. They're like a cool like red coat and yellow. I did like prime them all black, which I think it shines. It looks really, really good under the red. I like how the red is like the black pops through under the red,
Sure, yeah.
But it did make like that painting the yellow was like a challenge. I probably should have hit it with like a white or something first.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Cover the black and then hit the yellow, which would have made me, all I did was just I had to really apply more layers, and then I put like a yellow contrast over the yellow bottom, and that's like what the underside is of the Raptors. And I think it looks really good. I'm excited to get those guys done. I wanted to make sure that we put we made the commitment last week, so I just wanted to make sure like, man, I need to get some paint on these models. I know if I can get some paint on the models, I won't stop. Yeah,
and it's like anything. Like once you've been out of it for a while, because everybody experiences like paint burnout. Maybe you just painted 40 clan rats, so you're like, I don't want to paint another thing for a month. Or maybe you just painted Archeon. So you get some giant model, and you're just experiencing fatigue. And I know I got mad fatigue after finishing the Stormcast that I had left over for the last GT we did. The Heroes Cup.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think when we were doing the episode with Joel and Erica, I was still like painting things like in the background, like trying to get them finished. Yeah. So after that, I was like, oh man, I'm just burnt out. But I've been having a lot of fun playing the OCR Bone Reapers. I know that they lost a lot of their aura with their Battle Tome. I know that they don't have much representation in the meta right now. But, I think I said this a few episodes back, too. This is the perfect time to play casually.
Yep.
While we figure this thing out. And I feel like with the OBR, when you get a victory, it feels really earned because you don't have anything that's too game-breaking.
Yep, you had it's already like a grind. You know what I mean? And it's
sure.
Literally like putting in the grind all the way to the end, right?
I think what a lot of people don't like about the OBR is the tempo change. They don't like that we went from this like hard-hitting like shield block to this more techie movement army thing, but there's still plenty of power on deck. I've experienced it in the gameplay, and it really does incentivize you to get these bones painted up. And well, the cool thing about OBR is, the Age of Sigmar sculpts for skeletons just look cool. You know what I mean?
They sure do. They do. I really like, what is it, that new one? So Tuesday, me and you actually, I think this was very helpful. Like, speaking of like this new gameplay, is me and you got to like, we got to have one of those games where it's like, hey, we're going to show up, and the intention was to play.
Yeah,
we 100% was the intent to play because we haven't played each other in so long. So it was like, oh, let's play. We have our new armies. Yeah. And then you know what? I remember you even said, you're like, dude, let's like, we started in the very beginning, and I was like, oh, are we going to play like a real game? Or like, are we just training game? And then you're like, let's do a training game. I was down for that. I wanted to do a training game specifically. So it was nice. We reworked our deployment because I remember you deployed some of your stuff, and I was like, I can see a hole here. Like, let me just tell you this right now because I can see what I'm going to do right now.
Yeah.
And it was nice because, we got to sit down and we got to have, like, one of those, like, Reckless Room games. Man, I really cannot wait for it to cool down outside so we can get the Reckless Room going again.
Never underestimate the value of just sitting there and unpacking a battle plan and figuring out deployment for each battle plan with your buddy. You know what I mean?
We literally spent 3 hours on that one battle plan and had a great time. I felt more satisfied than if we had actually played a game because we both sat down, deployed, we broke down, both of us, and got to say turn one, like, hey, what if they make you go first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's your turn 1, 20 points.
Yeah.
And in this GHB, it feels like that's a huge advantage. You know what I mean? I've noticed now when I've gotten up on people, like, they've had a hard time coming back.
For sure. Yeah, and you can't be prepared for every battle plan unless you've seen them all, right? And the only way to see them all is to experience them all. And if you're just doing that randomly, every time you play a casual game, it's going to take you a long time to unpack the whole GHB. It's 12 battle plans. So having that time to just be like, hey, I remember this. This is the one that me and Robert looked over on Tuesday afternoon. This is how I should deploy. This is what I should be aiming to get. And yeah, it's really beneficial. The GHB, I feel like it's going to take us another few more months before we're like, okay, I've seen all the shock value stuff.
Agreed, 100% agreed. It'll be nice though, because I think by Christmas, we'll be hopefully competent again.
Yes,
because I think. I do want to give a big shout out to Scourge Guy Rand, man. That was such a great GHB.
Yeah, but when was the point that we knew all the battle plans and how they worked and where they were set up? And
January, February?
Yeah,
February?
At some point it just clicked, bro.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that to happen with Scourge of Akshi.
Well, I think these are 1 year now, 1 year battle GHBs.
Yes, 1 year.
So it's if we can get it good by Christmas, man, it'll be nice because we'll be competent at the very end of next year, right?
For sure, yes.
At the beginning of this year, we'll feel like how we did in Scourge Guy Rand.
Yes, I want next year to be very play heavy. You know what I mean? Remember at the start of this edition, we were still amassing our armies. You had a pretty decent Sylvaneth thing, but you need a few more key pieces for reinforcement.
Agreed.
I needed a whole Stormcast army, and now we're at this point where we have all the armies built. Now we just have to get them battle ready, and then it's just that point where it's like, well, what do I want battle ready? Do I want my Skaven battle ready? Do I want my Khorne battle ready? And I figure you always go with what project is near more complete, right?
Yeah.
It could be 1 or 2 units that are painted. You're like, oh, they're more along, so let's go with them.
You said that decided my army for this GHB is I have more of these guys painted.
Right. So it's just funny. And then I did get a game in with Hawkins.
Nice, bro. Nice. How did that game go?
So it's this boogeyman battle plan that I kept rolling randomly with people. So I rolled it randomly with Griffin, and Griffin was like, "Trust me, you don't want to play this one. This one's a really boring one. Let's move on."
Which one is it?
It's called Under the Ash Clouds.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then I rolled it again. I think it was with Tanner or somebody else, and we were like, "No, let's play something different." I rolled it with Blake, and we was like, no, let's do something different. So I rolled it with Hawkins, and Hawkins was like, hey, look, I've played this one. It's not that bad. This is what you want to do. This is how you want to deploy. Let's just give it a try. And I'm like, you know what? I need to practice on each battle plan. Okay, I need to know how this is going to work in real time. So we play the battle plan, right? And it's this one where the center of the map. So imagine everything 11 inches up all the way around.
Okay.
Is obscured, invisible. You can't pass through it unless you can end up on the other side wholly. It's this ash cloud, right? And the only way this ash cloud moves, you can't see through it, so you can't draw line of sight through it. You can't see what's inside of it. The only way into this ash cloud is you have to be the underdog, and you have to say, I lift the ash cloud, right? Okay. So at the beginning of the game, you just have this U deployment around this square. And, deployment goes how you think it would. I'm going to set up in this corner, and then your opponent's going to set up in that corner. And you kind of either chase each other clockwise or counterclockwise around the map until somebody is the underdog and it's beneficial for them to lift the cloud. However, now that obscuring is gone, a lot of people are bringing, shooting. Yeah. So I had a catapult. He had 2 catapults. So neither one of us wanted to lift the ash cloud and just expose ourselves to this firing line of catapult. So, and then on top of that, he's got Troggoths and other kind of slower moving units. And and it's kind of we played 4 battle rounds and nothing died because everything that was fighting was either too tanky to die or just couldn't meet their target. And both of us, because we had this threatening artillery pieces, were both like, all right, I'm not going to lift the ash cloud. For me, I needed the ash cloud lifted, right?
Yeah.
Because I had scored very early on 15 points, which kind of put me ahead. None of us could get 10 primary points until that ash cloud was gone, so it was just trading 6 points for 6 points while we chased each other and set up screens. And it's a very cagey way to play. I could see that this battle plan might be the one omitted by tournament organizers.
This is the path to the Fae.
This is the path to the Fae. This is one that I could see the community universally going, this one's not that fun, because again, it kind of takes the teeth out of Age of Sigmar. It kind of all the other maps are kind of like forcing these clashes in the middle of the map. This one is like in direct defiance against it. It's like, unless you're the underdog, you can't lift this cloud. And usually, you don't want that cloud lifted. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're in a super advantaged place. But if you can only be along the 11 inches up from the edge, how are you ever supposed to be in an advantageous place? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It seems like a wild battle plan, especially like if one of you is like super heavy shooting, and like you said, you guys both had catapults, so it's kind of hilarious in my opinion.
The theme is that, like, you know, it's in Akshi, and the center of the board is this volcano, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's erupting with smoke, and only the underdog can be blessed by the gods enough to clear that smoke for a second. It's supposed to be like a thematic battle happening on a volcano, like around the perimeter of it, and then as soon as the ash lifts, the army like rallies over the mountainside. And yeah, I get it. It's cool and all, but more than likely, if you never get, you know, priority like turned on you, and there were so many times where I gave my opponent the opportunity to double me, but they're just like, no, if I double you, you're gonna lift the ash cloud and come into me. So it was a really, really, really cagey match. Like, we played for probably 3.5, maybe 4 hours. Got through 4 battle rounds, and I swear nothing was dead, and the score was pretty high, and it was all just from like shenanigans. It was a shenanigans match. So if you haven't played it yet and you want a different Age of Sigmar experience, do the battle plan under the ash clouds. Shout outs to you, Hawkins, for being a good opponent. I'm glad I learned that battle plan, because I think going forward I will be that player who goes, why don't we move on from this one? This one might not be the most exhilarating.
Yeah, okay, I'll let you know this one is not great.
So like between like our training game and then that game, it was just a whole lot of just insight. I'm hoping that next week or the following weeks that'll translate into like
more exciting.
A more exciting, effective gameplay. It's, you know, when we were doing our training match, we were showing how to preserve our army. You know, you and I both like to go in there and put it all on the line pretty early.
Yep, full send.
Full send, you know what I'm saying? Let's get this game over with. But I think with the Rage Dice being able to give people additional wards, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
With there being so much damage being able to be done in the end step, it's really good to play a little bit more cagey now. Try to have a little bit more of your army survive to do things with later.
It does seem that way. It does seem like there, because everything is so killy now. It seems very easy to die. You know, we have that new Fury mechanic.
For sure.
Where if, you know, just spend an extra dice, get an extra attack, like, man, that's...
I've been running Flanking Firestorm and Siege of Ashes, and anybody who knows these battle tactics know they require you to cover a lot of ground very early on in the game. And the problem with covering a lot of ground is you never want to do it with something with a lot of points, right? You want to do it with about 90 to 140 points. If that's the unit that's going to go out there, secure the objective, and die immediately.
Yeah.
Yes. And thankfully, the Osiark Bone Reapers have 2 really good units for that. They have the Mortis Reapers at 110 points for the ones that jump over the terrain, or they have the 90-point ones that can teleport to a hero.
I like the one you brought this time. What was it? The
Tyrannic Cohort.
Yes, that was sick.
Anyone who just picked up the newest spearhead from the Osiark Bone Reapers, the one that was mostly Cav, they know this unit. It's the one with the centaur as the champion. Like, you can't miss it. It's a cool centaur.
It's a super cool model, actually.
And then he's like accompanied by 3 bone dogs, like 2 little bat guys, and 2 Mortek guards.
It almost doesn't look like a OBR piece. You know?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a hero, and then he's like with this little menagerie of people. And they got a decent attack profile, but what they're used for is they have a pregame movement. They have a 3-inch movement in every hero phase. So they're just going incredibly far for an Osiark Bone Reaper unit, which, you know, in our army, it either goes real fast, 10 inches, or it goes real slow, 4 inches.
Yep. Yeah. We only have 2 speeds.
Yeah, we got 2 speeds. We got 10-inch and 4-inch, and I think that even the book writers knew that, because one of our battle treats is called the Relentless Conquerors. It's like it lets us redeploy 4 or greater no matter what.
I like that. Yeah. The 4. It's like makes your runs and stuff a 4, right?
So I figured out a way with this 90-point Tyrannic Cohort unit and this 110-point Mortis Reaper unit to go out there and get the things that I need.
So I'm getting my Siege of Ash.
And then they die, and I'm only out, 190 points rather than 300 points, rather than 400 points from an important unit. Now, in Scourge of Akshi, you really need, cheap screens, I feel like.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed.
You need, 2 or 3 cheap screens, bro, and that's why I like being OBR right now, because I got the Mortek Guard, you know what I'm saying? I got the Tyrannic Cohort. I've got all these, little tiny screening pieces that are really good, and There's relentless discipline points to make them more defensive. So, yeah, playing with you, bro, this week, it was 100% necessary because it definitely directly helped me play against Hawkins. And Hawkins, if you guys haven't played with this guy, he's so adept at like learning the new stuff. Like he always knows like the new spearheads. He knows like the new battle plans, and then he's willing to meet you at like this training level. He was like, "Hey, redeploy differently." he's like, deploy differently. That's not really how it works on this map. He's like, you want to maintain a firing lane and then just keep it there. And then, sure enough, me and him, we shut down probably 48% of the board because I held a firing lane.
So no matter what, you're going to bomb somewhere or he's going to bomb somewhere.
Yeah. And his bombs were going to hit hard and mine were going to give you strike last. So it's like, it's tough. And he's running 2 catapults, and he really, we talked about earlier in the week about running 2 catapults, and I saw one at Hobby Forge for $80.
Did you? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
I was just like, it was still in the box.
It was?
But it was still in the box, so I'd have to build it still.
That's not terrible.
That's not terrible, but like I was like, I think like, I've seen Griffin running the 3 freaking cannons lists. I see Hawkins running 2 Doom Diver catapults.
Which is nice because you cover so much of the board as like a big threat right away, right? You make you make units hide in obscurity. You know what I mean? Like
right.
They have to hide in obscurity.
I was thinking
it presents a huge problem automatically for people.
I was thinking 2 cannons that are 6 inches apart, with a hero in between them. That's projecting 48 inches of threat, bro.
In every direction, yeah. It's a 24-inch circle.
And
then you can move 10 potentially and then shoot again. So now it's like 32 or something, 34
inches.
And
I know you know about tandem rules because you have those Raptidons that if one shoots, the other one can...
Yes.
If one charges, the other one can shoot in the charging phase.
Mm-hmm.
And we have tandem abilities too, but they're with our catapults. It's like if you shoot this person with a catapult on a 4-up, they have strike last. It's a 3-up if there's an AoS effector nearby. It's a 2-up if they got hit by another catapult.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, so the first catapult shot can give you a strike last on a 3-up, and then the second one on a 2-up, you're almost guaranteeing something getting strike last. Yeah.
That, and I like the move where you're moving in with the cavalry and just leaving. Especially
and
because they have strike fast,
And I read the rules. It's not like the Vigilors in Stormcast where you have to do the damage. You don't even have to do the damage. You can whiff.
Yeah.
But it's like the ground Trevor near you and gave you strike last.
Yeah, that's I think is really cool.
So yeah, so I'm excited about OBR. I'm excited to keep hobbying them out. I'll keep the Discord updated. I'll keep the boys updated, and I mean, you'll see them when we play our games. I feel like we're about to dive right back into like playing like 2 times a week, 3 times a week.
We're getting to
once
that
the
point
weather
again.
turns.
Yeah.
Once life stables out a bit. What I love about the end of the year is like it brings so much holiday time. Like
yes,
we got Labor Day, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas and New Year's. So I'm excited. I know that's all going to lead to playing more Sigmar.
Yep.
And
that and we live in Phoenix, man, and fall is like. There's a reason everybody lives here for 6 months out of the year, and it's for that time of the year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you have a chance to come out to Phoenix, don't do it right now.
Yeah.
You know what? Wait 4 months. This is going to be the coolest place you ever went to. You're going to be like, oh wow, this is super nice. But it's a desert. Like you gotta. The sun shines differently here, is what I've always said.
It sure does.
It shines.
It sure does.
More intense, bro. It's a little bit like Akshi.
Yes, exactly. That's this new GHB. We feel right at home.
Yeah. So it's just crazy that here we are, 50 episodes down, celebrating the 50th episode right now, bro. And I feel like we covered so much ground, had so much experience. You told me we've only been competing competitively for 4 months.
Yeah,
it felt like 4 years.
Felt like we've been through some wars. Yeah.
Yes, brother. Like I was like, oh my gosh, and and some of our peers, they're competing right now as we speak. Over there in Old Town Throwdown.
Yes, that was like one thing I did wanted to shout out. But we got our House of Hobbies boys and girls.
Yep.
The gals, the teams. They're out there and they're in Old Town Throwdown in California right now having a blast. And you can see, I don't know if you keep up with like the Warhammer social media.
Sure.
AoS coaches there, like great, dude, sick people are there. And it's awesome that they're going to go out there and play that game.
When we interviewed Joel and Erica, they said that was the event.
Yep.
That was the event that they love the most, that they hold dear. And so that might be one we try to...
Dude, we got it.
We try to figure that out in the future. You know what I'm saying? I feel like every scene needs a Team Reckless experience.
Yep, exactly. We want you guys to experience us.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, brother. I think that's going to be enough catching up. We've got 50 takes sitting in front of us, and neither knows what the other guy brought. And I have a feeling we're about to find out about how reckless episode 50 is really going to get. Alright, Scarecrow, it's time to get into it. This is it. 50-50. 50 reckless Age of Sigmar takes. 25 from me, 25 from you. And neither one of us knows what the other guy is about to throw on the table. For every take today, we've got to land 3 places. Agree, disagree, or we're going to split it at 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with so many takes and so many opinions and so many different viewpoints, it's hard to be aligned perfectly on any one thing in Age of Sigmar. You know, even just you and I, it's always going to be 50-50, but you add a few more people in that and the variable's going to go. Everyone feels like they have a reasonable knowledge of this, some people more than others, but and until we actually hear what those takes are, until we actually put it out there in the ethos, we're never going to really know how we feel about every little aspect of the game. So yeah, let's dig into this thing.
Yeah, so this should be fun. I'm excited. Think we'll have some reckless takes, but, you know, it is what it is. That's what we're here for. So, we're starting with units on trial. These are the pieces that people are building around, sleeping on, overhyping, or maybe putting in on a list that the model is sick and they want it to work. So no full war scroll readings, no fence sitting. We're talking about whether these units actually earn a spot when it's time to put the models on the table. Alright, Jesse, let's start with take 1. I'm going to go first, and then you can go from here.
Alright.
Take 1. A unit with an amazing damage profile, but no real delivery plan is not a hammer. It's a very expensive disappointment piece.
Oof, that's a rough take. You know, I'm going to have to give that one the 50-50, brother.
You think the 50-50?
Yeah, you know, abilities aren't everything. Sometimes raw damage can supersede the ability. I know you want a unit to do everything. But yeah, I feel like, you know, you got a unit that all it does is put out a lot of damage, then it's playing its role, it's doing its job. It's definitely a hammer.
I agree. I can see that a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to go 50-50 with you on this one. I think you can put a lot of damage out on paper, but getting it into the unit and making sure it happens, I can tell by just playing Durthu so many times that, like, sometimes it's been sick. Oh, he's done some great, super cool things. At the same time, Durthu moves 5.
Yeah.
Getting into Durthu, I've got to set up a lot of things. You know?
Yeah.
So I can see it's like, there's been plenty of times where it has just been a real disappointment.
For sure, yeah, for sure. You know, and damage seems to be king now above all in Scourge of Akshi. The battle plans are really forcing interaction. A lot of them are hingent upon you, you know, being in combat or leaving combat or charging into combat. So definitely, I feel like having damage on deck right now is more important than it's ever been.
I'll give you that right now, especially with the new GHP. Damage is king. I like how you put it best.
When they had the rage dice mechanic introduced, everybody was looking through all their war scrolls like, who's got the highest damage profile?
Who can hit one more time and wipe your unit?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like, yeah, the whole, like, you know, where I kind of agree with this take is that you don't want to see that it just does a lot of damage and you go down the abilities and the ability is like, +1 to control. You're like, what?
Oh, that's too funny. It's so funny because Seraphon, for some reason, dude, that's a big thing. It's just like, nice, this is my hammer. What does he do? Like, oh, he has 3 to control.
You're like, son of a bitch.
Dude, come on, man.
Like, if I'm going to kill what's there, what the hell do I need the control score for?
Exactly.
No, for sure.
All right,
anyway,
man. Let's hit with your take. What's your take?
All right, so the scariest unit on the table is not always the one that kills the most. It is the one that can be everywhere you need it.
I agree. I actually 100% agree. There's a lot of times I see certain people that are running certain units, and it's like, I don't even need to fight this, but this one right here, I know he's weak. I need to kill him now.
I know in wargaming it's a standard size, but 60 inches by 44 inches is a lot of map to cover.
Yes, sir.
You understand? And most things move, you know, 4 to 8 inches, right?
Yep. If you're a fast boy, you move.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you get a 10-inch move, a 12-inch move, on those units. But usually, units that can move like that have they pay a price. They're either like smaller units or weaker units,
or
whatever.
If you look at them and they die.
Yeah, exactly. So, when you need to cover so much area, if you have that unit that can just be everywhere, I'm thinking of like Ionis and his ability to reliably translocate. I'm thinking about all the strike and fade units in Sylvaneth. I'm thinking about the rat holes and how they can just be anywhere on the board.
Or what about your pre-game movement nonsense? Stormcast with their Bastion Carthalos nonsense.
Yeah, 3 units are now going to take a regular move.
And it's like, dude, that's huge, especially for a unit that was only moving 5.
Absolutely.
What is this, the Dreaded Cohort we were talking earlier?
Yes.
Well, like, just huge. And then it moves, 10 or 8 or something?
Yes.
It's crazy.
It moves 7. You can Relentless Discipline it to move 3 more. So now we're talking 10. It gets a 3-inch movement in every hero phase. Again, it just has the ability to be where you need it to be. And there's so many battle tactics that require units to be in this place that they want it to be. Right.
Need you to be.
Or be right here.
You're right. Need you
6
to be.
inches of this, or outside of this, or right next to this terrain. Yes, being where I 100% agree with this. Being where you need to be counts way more.
Nice. I love that. So we both agreed on that one. Let's go and jump into my third take.
Sure.
Or take 3. Cheap scoring and screening units win more games than the coolest things in most people's lists.
Say it again, Grizzly.
Cheap scoring units and screening units win more games than the coolest things in most people's lists.
I remember one of my first wins over Grizzly because he had been just pushing my shit in, using nothing but monsters in the Sylvaneth Monster Mash before they got their new book, which just made them grosser, so I'm glad I wasn't dealing with that back then. I was like, this guy's putting an insane amount of damage out. How can I stop this from happening? I was like, well, can he kill 50 Liberators? Can he kill 50 Liberators? And I put him to the test, and yeah, sure, every time he swung, a Liberator unit went down. But there was another one right behind it holding down the objective, and I was using battle traits and abilities that gave me more control score, and it was just a fun way to win. But yeah, man, I think Zach from House of Hobbies can attest to this.
Yeah,
he loves doing that. He's like, let me find that 90-point model, that 110-point model, and then make it work in a huge list, right?
Agreed. 100% agreed. Zach he loves it.
So yes, sometimes you look at stats and you're like, this guy is weak.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That works. A little underwhelming.
The biggest one you ever ate was the Dryads, bro.
Oh, you're 100% right. Remember, I would never play Dryads.
You would never play Dryads.
You were like, dude, why don't you run them?
I was like,
where do you have them? And I was like, oh, I have 40 of them.
You would always just tell me they're not very good. They don't really do much.
Exactly.
And then when Scourge of Gyran came around, I was like, you need to start using these guys. And you're like, yeah, you're right. -1 to hit and -1 to wound.
I loved them, man. They got me. I've gotten a lot of tournament wins because people ran into Dryads.
Yeah, 90 points, right?
Yeah, and it's just like you are wasting your time, my friend.
If you can make 300 points of models, take only 90 points out of your shit, and you got points before leading up to that, that's just the greatest feeling. It was one of the hardest things for me to learn in the game was like, you need these screening units.
Just as a highlight from this year, Colin ran his Nagash into 2 units of Dryads. Those 2 units of Dryads held Nagash up for 3 turns.
Jeez.
Just as like a highlight of exactly what I'm talking about with this take is like, Nagash is 900 points. Like, that's a fraction,
900 points being held up by 180 points of Dryad.
Yeah.
Like,
so
that would infuriate me.
Hilarious. Totally hilarious. By the way, Nagash, man, you should be wounding on 2s.
Yeah.
You should be wounding on 2s.
Nagash is such a meme, bro.
Yeah, he is. Alright, Jesse, what's your next take?
Nagash is such a meme, bro. No, my real take, and this actually goes into what we were just saying, is if a hero is only in your list to unlock a regiment, it had better at least do one more useful thing. Now, that's the one thing I really hated about the regiment system this go around.
Agreed.
Some of the Vanguard units that you really want to use in Stormcast are locked behind Vanguard heroes, right? Or heroes that can take any Stormcast chamber. And that's normally what people had to do because all the Vanguard stuff got sunset.
Yep.
All the heroes went to Legends. So it's like, okay, I have to use Bastion Cardlos if I want to bring long strikes. I have to use Andraste or somebody who can take any chamber. So, yeah, 100%. Your hero... Man, this might be a hot take in itself, but, like, your hero should be doing 2 or 3 things for its regiment, right?
Yeah, especially if it's a lot of points.
Yes.
I can agree to that for sure.
I feel like if it's 100 points, it better be doing one thing really good. If it's 200 points, 2 things very good. If it's 300 or more, you better be carrying your damn army.
You better be a toolbox.
Yeah.
You for sure better be a toolbox. That was one thing. So I remember the way it was before. I used to play like and try to build lists for Casey and her Nurgle. And there are certain units I'm like, oh, this one's really cool, but it's like, I need to have this as like its leader or whatever. You know,
sure.
I kind of like I miss how like the old system was where it was like you got to pick 3. Like it was like you picked a hero and then 3 battle line units or whatever. I think your battle formations unlocked like your regiments really at the end of the day. So I do know it's a little differently, but I think you're right though. I think if you shouldn't just use one hero to unlock a unit because then you're considering that hero's points probably have to be added to that unit's points, right?
Yes.
That you're unlocking. You're like, I know this hero does nothing, but I can't use this unit without it. Well, it's like, well, now that unit is no longer 300 points.
One thing I hate is having like a 300 point reinforced unit, but they really go off if they have this hero, right? But the hero is only like doing something for that one unit. So it's like, that doesn't feel like enough for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I brought this hero and all he's doing is helping this one unit. I like a hero that can help multiple units. I like a hero that can, synergize with a few different units. So it's tough. One of the biggest ones for Stormcast was, Gardas, right? Mm-hmm. He shows up, he gives them +1 to charge, he gives them like -1 to hit, and then nothing.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. He did his 2 things. His time is over.
The thing happened. It's over. Now, if you did it turn 1, Gardas is just standing out there for 4 turns like, you guys see that thing I did turn 1? Shit was insane, right?
So that was sick, huh? I'll be back here.
Yeah, so definitely, I agree with the take that your hero's got to be doing more. It's got to be doing more than just unlocking your regiment. That is a waste.
I love it. So we both agree on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and break out my last take for this segment. Let's go with, if this unit only looks good when your opponent makes a mistake, it's not reliable tournament unit. This one. Let's hear your thoughts first.
Having a unit that is relying on misplay, that's a very casual way to approach the game, unfortunately.
It sure is.
Yeah, the more adept the player, the less likely they are to have that misplay that you're theorizing in your head.
Exactly.
I remember once upon a time you said, play your game to the best of your ability and what you do.
Yeah.
And playing your game shouldn't rely too much on their misplay. Never build towards misplay. You're not going to experience it that much outside of, casual play with newer players.
Yep. No, exactly. Like, now that we've played, so many times competitively, every time I'm like, well, maybe they could do this. Like, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Just so you know, they don't. I've had to, like, unabide it a couple times, like, with Durthu, where it's just like, man, if I'm very lucky now that we got that teleport that he can drop and I can put him right into combat. I can get him right in the go right away. Before that, I thought that artifact was useless, and I didn't know why you would ever want a once per battle teleport. But, man, it's actually made him viable, because before then, it's just hard, because you keep them in the back, especially if they have any type of shooting, and right now, everybody's running shooting, right? Unless you're running an ash cloud in the middle of the battlefield. Darthu's getting shot, dude. He's getting shot. You can't hide him by obscuring.
Yes.
And that's one real big reason I think Marathi has been killing it so bad this season. Is because she can make herself obscuring as a flying monster.
Yes,
you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yes, and then the mechanic of like having Fury dice, and those Fury dice allow you to make more attacks, and she has a 6 damage attack, and it's like you can swing a 6 damage attack 3 more times, and it has 3 up criticals. Like that's insane. Like so this person gets 18 more damage on you potentially just for having a rage mechanic, just for being the defender. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a lot to deal with, bro. And I feel like they give and they take away, right? So they took away the obscuring so that your gun lines could be more effective, right?
Yep.
But then they're like, but the mechanic is rage and powerful hits.
Yep.
A gun line's never gonna like benefit from that.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe you could add one more shot to the cannon. I
No,
guess,
you can't
right?
shoot with it. It's a combat
Oh, it's gotta
attack.
be combat. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's not a shoot.
okay.
It
I
says
like
make
little
a
better
make a
now.
combat attack. Yeah, it doesn't say. It says choose a weapon on their combat profiles.
Oh, you are
and swing
correct.
that. It does not say choose a weapon on their shooting profile. Or
says
else
melee
people would
weapon.
just be using rage dice on cannons.
Yeah,
on
I guess that's
catapults.
true. All right, 4 extra rage dice. Here's 4 extra.
So they made it
catapult
easier
shots.
for your gun lines, but then they also made it punishing for your gun lines because, dude, imagine you get Dirtho into a gun line and you can swing 3 more times.
Oh, he's smashing.
Yeah, he's destroying the gun line, right? So, yeah. So, you know, playing Blake recently, like, made me realize that. Like, there's going to be these strong gun line players, and then there's going to be these, like, you know, huge cavalry or ground infantry players, and now they can kind of hold each other in check, right?
Yep, I agree.
Where before, where you could obscure an objective, or you could, you know, camp and obscuring, it was a little hard for that gun line to be like, don't come over here.
Half the board is obscuring. Now, like, places of power no longer provide obscuring, right?
Yep, places of power no longer provide obscuring,
So
and
you-
people are going to be tapping them constantly.
Yep.
Which always gives it the risk of exploding. I know it happened to Hawkins in our game.
Did he?
Yeah.
You trying to bonk it for the Fury?
He bunked it twice and he rolled a 1. Like, so, you know, and you have to, like, you spend a CP and rally that back. Cause,
Oh, poor Hawkins. Poor
yeah, I
Hawkins.
saw it happen to Josiah his very first 2 times bonking the place of power. And, you know, Josiah, he rolls a little bit worse than the average player. But, yeah, it's shocking to see. So, yeah, you know, with that take, bro, I agree. I have to agree. That's a good take.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's hear your last take for this segment.
Reinforcing every good unit is a trap if it means you have nothing to play the rest of the board. This is a lesson we had to learn hard.
Yeah, we are. We're still learning it. Remember, we were like talking through, like, even, like in our last games. It's just like,
Is this worth being reinforced or is it MSU?
yeah.
You know, it wasn't until I started playing OBR that I started really looking at MSU units, you know, because it's too easy for this hobby to start making you play what I call, like, mental simulator.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a quick simulation in my mind. If I just add 6 more units to this unit, then that's going to be 12 more dice, and
Yeah.
therefore it's going to put up more damage. And it's too easy to go down that hole with, like, I want to do max damage. But somebody once said to me, I think it was Aaron Elias, he said, it doesn't matter if you can put 24 damage. He's like, that is a 10 health unit.
Yeah, yeah.
And it cost me 90 points. And that kind of goes back to our other take. It's like, was it worth reinforcing the Croxagores to kill a unit of Blood Reavers?
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
Exactly. You're like, yeah, I sent 120 damage or whatever at you. You're like, dude, these guys, they die. Like, no matter
One
what.
reinforced unit of really strong hammers in your back line just kind of threatening, you know, your front lines. It's so much better than having, you know, 4 reinforced units and no screens.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. I have 0 screens out there.
I have 0 screens, and I'm going to either lose or win rapidly in the first 2 turns. I feel like a lot of people have done that list. You know, I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it.
Oh, for sure.
You know, where people are like, I didn't really think about this turn 3 and 4.
I will just say, when I eventually dive into Slaves to Darkness, I'm still going to reinforce all 3 of the Vanguard.
You know, and when you see, like, what Griffin's doing with the cavalry and
Yeah.
Cities of Sigmar, you can't help but feel like they all need to be reinforced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When the Archai, like, only have 3 swings per model, you're like, I need 4.
Yeah.
I need 4 bone chickens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, reinforcing, it can be a trap. You know what I mean? But I believe that it's good to have a mix of both. Like, you don't want to have an
Yeah.
army with no reinforced shit, because then there's no real threat on board.
I agree. That's actually one thing that Griffin said to me. He's like, if you're going to make a hammer, especially because now we have that new rage mechanic where you can basically, everyone has a 3-up ward.
Yes.
Which is fucking insane depending on how many rage dice you have.
Hawkins kept his freaking Trogoth boss guy alive, like, way longer than it had any right to be with that stupid
Because now it's saving on what, 5s? 5-up ward.
5-up ward. That now
Heals D3. He's got 14 life, and now you can just throw a 3-up ward on at the end.
Oh, man, yeah.
That seems, it's a lot.
It is a lot, and it made me, you know, when we're looking at Rage Dice and the Fury mechanic for Scourge of Akshi, you're thinking damage in your head, right? You're like, I can put more damage on deck. But I think Hawkins is right when he told me in the game, the ward is worth a lot more. Yeah.
I've been listening to Dudes of Sigmar, and that's what they were talking about. They're like, everyone thought the same thing. Like, oh, what else can have one extra attack?
Yes.
That doesn't mean shit.
No.
What else can live, through something with a 3-up board? Like, oh, that's pretty nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can see there's in games so far I've played where it's like, there's misplayed where it's like, oh, I could have used a 3-up board here. I totally could have done that, and I just didn't consider it.
The chance to attack with a unit comes up a lot more than the chance to survive a unit, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Because a lot of times I don't know how they figured out how to do it, but how does shit always die exactly to the
wound? Yeah.
Right?
They've gotten the map down figured out really well.
They've gotten the map down figured out. Everything always dies, exactly the wound or close to the wound. A lot of times you're going to overkill an obvious, matchup. You're like, okay, I got my Croxagores going into 5 Liberators.
Yeah.
I'm gonna destroy those fools, right? You know what I mean? But if you're like, I got my Croxagores going into Reinforced Annihilators, you're like, I'm not getting through this unit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like,
you're like, I might kill 3.
Yeah. You're saving on 3s, bro.
If they're the shield ones, they're saving on 2s.
Yeah,
yeah. You can all out defense.
I was talking about after the rend, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
After my rend applies, you're saving on 3s, and it's just like
rend has gotten kind of out of control in Age of Sigmar, in my opinion. I think too many units have rend too.
Yeah, you think so?
Absolutely.
I think you're right.
Absolutely.
It takes away from the 3-up save.
Yes, it does take away from the 3-up save, especially if you have no way to. This is one of my gripes with Stormcast is like you don't have any way to lower the opponent's rend like in other armies. Seraphon can do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Ossiarch Bone Reapers can do it. They can lower somebody's rend.
A lot of armies can do it. Yeah.
A lot of them, but Stormcast don't do it. And it's like when you have 2 rend on a 3-up save, that 3-up save means nothing. And then the 2 rend on a 5-up, 6-up save model, like they were never going to make those saves anyways. So they're relying on their ward. I'm seeing that in the game. They're adding so many things that turn off.
Well, that you have the ward, right? The new 3-up ward.
Yeah.
You have all defense. When I very first started,
I wonder, can you roll the rage dice if you're like, let's say if your wards were turned off? Like Ossiarch Bone Reaper.
It's not a ward.
It's not a ward. Oh, because it's
not
a mechanic.
Ward. We call it a ward to simplify it, but it's a mechanic.
It's a mechanic.
Yeah.
It's Fury dice.
Yep. You're spending it at a Fury level.
See, it's just insanely powerful, bro.
It is. I think it's really, really good. But I think that's going to close out our first segment. But I got one more bonus take for units units on trial. I think Marathi right now is the best Scourge of Akshi unit out of everyone.
100%.
What's your opinion?
100%. Just her ability.
You think so?
Her ability to come back, the amount of damage she can do, the utility she has. 100%. Like, you look at armies that are carried by their big hero.
Yep.
There's not that many of them, right?
This one is 100%.
This one, Marathi. Yeah. Like, if you're playing Daughters of Cain right now, and you're not running Shadow Queen and Marathi,
what are you doing?
What are you doing, bro? You're missing out on the best time to be a Daughters of Cain player. I can't think of a better hero right now.
I'll go tell you, like, go look at a dock game and come back at turn 4. Tell me who's back on the board for a dock. Tell me who's on the board. You know what I mean? It's Marathi. And Marathi is slaying their whole army, their opponents. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think she has a 3-up, 5-up ward, right? And then you can apply either the rage dice where she's swinging it, where she has the tail hitting on d6 or hitting a 6 damage for just an extra attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Granted, it gets rid of the mortals, but if you roll a mortal on the fury dice, you just deal another d3. That's nasty.
Yes.
Okay, and then. Or you can just give her a 5-up ward after her 3-up, and you've made it past her 3-up, you've made it past her 5-up, and now she has another chance to roll 3-up to say whatever damage. Like, how do you kill Marathi?
And then when you do, it just hurts that she just comes back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not comes back at half health, like comes back full health, full power. Yeah, it's a lot to deal with, and sure, it's a lot of fun to play. Sure, everything else in the army dies when you whisper to it. But the Shadow Queen is the army, bro.
It is.
The Shadow Queen is the identity.
There's a reason she's so many points.
Yes, there's a reason she's so many points. There's a reason everyone's taking her.
Alright, now that we've talked about individual units, now let's talk about the part where people can have every cool model in the world and still accidentally build themselves into a list that does not work.
Yeah, building a list, it's one of the most challenging things in this hobby, if I have to be honest with you, you know what I mean? I know that painting can be daunting. I know that building can be daunting, but list building takes a certain understanding of the mechanics, an understanding of your army and your battle tome. It's definitely where the really adept players separate themselves from kind of the noobish players. You know, you can tell a list made by somebody who just started playing the game and another list that's, you know, quote unquote meta. And me and Robert have never been meta chasing like people, but there's, you know, when something becomes super useful, it's going to find its way into your list, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Doesn't, you can put off the long strikes as long as you want, Jesse.
Eventually you need them, right?
It's coming in. They're coming in.
I can keep trying to figure out how to get these Questor out of the list. But that free teleport, you know what I'm saying? The 5-up ward and the control score, it's got to be in every single list. Build a Sylvaneth list without Kurnoth.
Yeah, no, I think the quote was, hey, you keep trying to build lists without Drycha.
Stop doing that. Yeah, stop doing that. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
I think you're right. You know, this list building, it is really hard, and I think you're right. Like, that's really where it decides, like, how good of a player you are. Because you can look at certain lists and you're like, oh, someone just started playing. You know what I mean? Like, you just started playing, and you thought these units were cool. You are missing, like, a screen.
Absolutely.
I'm going to run in there and pin all of your stuff in your backline, and you're going to have a terrible time.
Absolutely, yeah.
That, or it's, like, just all hammers. Oops, all hammers, you know? That's my favorite list.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves an oops, all hammers list, but there's nothing worse than seeing your hammer, like, die before it can put out anything.
Oh, the worst. The worst.
It was shot out in the open. No.
Yeah. You have all monsters. Did you forget about shooting? Shooting exists in this game, and if you're a monster, you're dead.
For sure, yeah. I think everyone who's played the game long enough has suffered a crushing defeat to a gun line. You know.
Oh, for sure. You've had that. You've came up against the sky boat from KO. And you're like, fuck, dude.
You're like, no, please, no. You know what I'm saying? They've got like 15 of the bow snakes and Doc.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The bow snakes are the worst. Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I remember when you were playing that one match at what was it, Scorched Earth, and they had like 1,000,000 bliss barbs or something like that.
It was a bunch of bliss barb archers. So it's like, hey, if you get within this range, these guys can run and shoot. And it's just like, oh, so your threat range is like 30 inches basically consistently. They're like, well, yeah. Okay, cool.
So, like, you know, you want to build a list that can handle every scenario. You want to build a list that can take on any other list. But, you know, there are hard counters. There are just not enough points in the list, right?
Exactly, yeah. We always want 4,000
Some things went up, some things went down, some things were never useful in the first place.
They were just no good, yeah.
But yeah, what's your take? What's your first take on list building?
All right, so let's hear my first take. All right. So a unit does not need to kill its points back to be worth taking. What's your thoughts?
That's rough because, you know, some units can be 440 points. You know, some units like Marathi can be 720 points. In Marathi's situation, I could definitely see her removing 720 points off the board. You know what I mean?
Agreed. I think she could. I think that's a lot of work. I will say, I love my Gossamet archers.
Yeah.
They're, 120 points? They could kill nobody. And I would take them every time.
Yeah, I mean,
in fact, they never kill anybody.
Yeah, and you know, we were speaking about the Tyrannic cohort. You know, at 90 points, like I don't care if you never see combat.
Yeah,
just go around and do the thing I need you to do.
You could kill them turn one after they've scored my tactic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Dryads, I think, were a great example. Like Dryads don't kill anybody.
For sure.
Dryads kill nobody. If a Dryad kills you, I'm like, holy shit.
The first thing you have to do when building lists is look at your tactics and how you can score them, and then start being like, okay, well, what in my list can I take to ensure that I can do these things? Never build just for killing, you know, unless your strategy is just to table your opponent, and that is a, you know, valid and
it's valid if you can do it
and doable strategy.
Some armies are built to do that.
That's where you kind of fall into like that, you know, that mental simulator, you know, that mind battle simulator, where you're like, in my head, I'm swinging and I'm doing all this damage, but there's so much movement shenanigans.
Yep.
There's so much combat avoidal mechanics.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I remember I denied Hawkins' tactic just recently because I'm able to just fade away with my horses in combat.
You're like, bye.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh man, I needed you to be there so I could power through at the end of my turn. You know, a lot of people are running that tactic where you do
that 3 damage.
A point of damage in each phase. But sometimes a phase can be devastating, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, I just need to power through, but damn, I just killed you.
I remember, when I was playing Griffin, he had that tactic and he never got to do anything because anything he got into combat with, he died. Or he didn't, like, kill all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's tough because, like you said, the tactics force interaction. It's like, go over here and kill. Go over here and hold while somebody's still there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But if you're trying to, like, well, you need to shoot them or hit them with the spell and then deal charge damage and then deal combat damage and they still have to be alive at the end of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that you can power through at the end of dealing another D3.
And an adept player knows, like, when you're trying to do these steps, and he's like, how can I make it so you can't do these steps?
Sort of those, like, are you sure you don't want to use a Fury dice and save him, give him the 3 or 4? Like, no, he could die.
I'm counting on this spell to do the first point of damage. Oh, he unbinded it. Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least I still can shoot him. Oh shit, he redeployed away.
Oh, he's in obscuring.
All right, well, at least I can charge, do the damage, and then still do the power through. Oh, I failed the charge.
Yeah, I rolled a 2-inch charge. Yeah.
Okay. So it's, you know, I feel like a lot of the tactics this go around, their parameters are strict.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of, like, conditions. That's you know, when I'm looking in this game, I'm looking for the least amount of conditions.
Yes.
And with this GHB, they're like, we heard you. We're gonna fix that. Every tactic has a lot of conditions.
Yeah. No doubt.
So we can both agree on that. What are your thoughts? What did you? What did you come down to?
I 100% agree that it. I mean, I would say I would disagree because I don't believe you need to kill back the points.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Right.
I think that. Yeah. No, I think you don't. You just don't.
Yeah. Points aren't measured in lethality, right?
The whole point of the game is I know, like, everybody's first thing when we start playing this game is like, yeah, I'm gonna kill your shit.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's not how you win. You can go ahead and kill all my shit. That's not how you win the game.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're learning on is because everyone when they very first start, the whole thing is like, yeah, I'm sending all hammers at you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna smash whatever like gets in my way. You're like, that's not how you win this game.
Yeah.
And I think once you take the value off of, like, killing everything and more on, like, scoring your primaries and your secondaries,
100%.
That's how you win.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hear your take.
A good list should still function when your important spells fail or you do not have a command point that you need.
Oh, you know what? I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to go super heavy in Magic?
Yeah.
And in the first season, like when I was learning Sylvaneth?
It's hard, you know, you're reading a bunch of buffs and you're like, I want those buffs.
Yeah, I need all these, too.
Yeah.
And it's like, when they don't go off, oh man. Things can fall apart very quickly.
I remember playing Tanner recently, and he has Gobsprack, right?
Yeah.
And with Gobsprack, you get to unbind with 3 D6.
Yeah.
And then if it unbinds you, you take D3. So I was just like, how do you reliably cast against something like that?
Yeah, you're like, that's terrifying. As a Seraphon player now, that's terrifying.
So, yeah, you know, you have to understand that anything that goes off on a dice roll is, it might or might not happen, right?
Yeah, so don't have your whole
whole strategy be like this, you know. I think one of the biggest traps for that is the Extremis Chamber in Stormcast. It's like, you can take this battle trait, and on a 3-up, if a unit charge, it'll get first strike. But what if you don't get that 3-up?
Yeah, yeah.
What if you really get that first strike? I don't like 3-up rules. You know, OBR has a lot of on a 3-up.
3-up rules.
Yeah.
I hate them.
It always seems like when you need a 3, that's when the 1 and 2 show up.
That's
it
the
doesn't
only
make
time.
any sense, dude. But yeah, I hate 3-up mechanics. It's just such a, I don't know. It's so unsure. You know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed.
It's supposed to be 60% of the time, but you're only really paying attention to when it fails.
What is it? 60% of the time? It fails.
It fails
every time.
Every time, yeah. So I was spectating Griffin's game with Kyle. He was playing Cruel Boys, and he was about to dirty trick him, and he was like, on a 3-up, your whole strategy fails. And the 3-up didn't go off, and I'm like, oh, so now you just lose.
So now you're dead?
Yeah. I think you bet it on the 3-up.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. So I can 100% I agree with that take.
Yeah, for sure. You need to be able to wither the failed roll.
Yep.
And continue on with your strategy.
I think to even stack on top of that, it's like, there's a lot of lists like you should not build on just one unit.
Remember, I told you with the OBR, I'm like, okay, if the cannon hits you and it gives you strike last, this turn is going to be completely different than if it doesn't give you strike last.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, for sure. What about another hot take for us?
Next take I'm looking at is the best unit in your army is usually the one that makes the rest of your army better, not necessarily the one with the biggest damage numbers. What do you think?
Heroes, I feel like, are just pure support in most cases anyway.
Yep.
You've got, your Dirthus and your Bastion Carthaloses and Drastes, you know what I'm saying? You've got your units that can hit really hard, but I think of all of those units that, they're just for casting. Warsong Revenant.
Yep.
I think about that. I think about the ones just for praying. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Slan. Yeah. You know what I mean? So many support heroes. And I really feel like if we're looking at this like militaristically, right? You don't want your general right there in the front.
No,
you know what I mean? And,
he's chilling in the back.
And a lot of abilities require the person to be alive, right?
Yep, exactly.
And you kind of play this game of preservation, right? Like, how can I protect this piece? Almost like chess. Like, I need to protect the king with all these other pieces. So, yeah, your hero, it does not need to do a lot of damage. I've seen lists where, like, the heroes were none of the damage.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
You're talking about this land.
Yep, exactly.
You know
Like, they don't do any damage the
Yeah,
entire game.
Yeah.
Last season, before they did, like, the Sylvaneth book, I used to always run the Branch Witch.
Yeah.
And remember, I would bring her in with the teleport, and if she was within combat range of one of my units that's in combat, I can give him strike first.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I loved that. It's like, the Branch Witch will never hit you.
Yeah.
I remember there was times people would run into combat, and it's like, oh, cool, she's gonna die. And they're like, nope, actually, she lived. You get to swing back, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what the melee profile does. So, does it hit on 3? He's like, I don't know. It doesn't ever hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Her job is to come over here and give you strike first.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those like,
I think with the rise of priests in this new edition, it's now more than ever, when you can have priests, you can have wizards, you do not need them to be serving a combat role.
Agreed.
So much infantry and other battle lines, and there's just so much ways to put damage that you don't really need to do it through a hero unless you're doing like the Bloodthirsters list. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Then all your damage is in heroes. You know what I mean? But Hero Hammer. Let's talk about it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I feel like when all I see is heroes, I'm just like, it kind of I lose interest. We're playing armies, right? We want to see an army. We want to see units.
You're like, where's your battle line?
Yeah. I remember Korn had that, regiment, Army of Renown, where it was just nothing but heroes. It's like, and everyone was just like, okay, everyone in the list is a hero, but they have 4 up ward.
Oh,
that was the list, bro.
Is that the Korn one?
That was the Korn one, when people were just running a bunch of Korn heroes, and they were like, all right, it's nothing but little ground heroes, but they got a 4 up ward.
All of them have a 4 up ward, yeah, it's nasty. Especially, but they all slap.
Yeah, they
all
hit
of them
hard.
slap.
Yeah, so, and in that case, all of your damage is in the heroes.
Yeah.
So, this is the thing about Warhammer, is it will literally do whatever you want it to do. Now, whether that will lead to success or not, the verdict isn't out yet. But, no, I don't. Again, brother, a hero as pure support is 100% viable. It took me a long time to learn that because you had such strong, hard-hitting heroes. I was like, I want some of that too.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody likes the big slappy heroes.
Here, I got a hot take for us.
Let's hear it. Let's hear yours.
Every list needs at least one unit you are completely willing to sacrifice for points or position. We touched on that.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I put that in my list and it's like, your job is to die.
I mean, whenever you simulate this game in your head, you never simulate like, oh, this is gonna die.
Yeah.
You're simulating it as if you're having pure success because that's how you envision it in your head.
Exactly.
I learned about Warhammer something is dying right away. Now you just have to be able to put yourself in a position where you can decide what is dying.
It takes a long time for you to figure that out, right? Yeah. You're like, nah, I got this list and everything is perfect. I don't know how anybody could beat it. And then someone runs it and pops this key piece and you're like, oh, well, fuck.
Well, I'm cooked.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know how anyone can be like, I don't know how I'm going to win.
Yeah. No, definitely. We've all had that, key piece of our strategy removed turn 1, and then we're, scrambling the rest of the game to, gain ground again. It feels horrible, bro. But, yeah, again, key pieces to sacrifice. the killing is going to happen. The blood will flow. You know what I mean? So
agreed.
Just decide: do I want to lose 90 points or do I want to lose 200 points? Do I want to lose 300 points? You know?
Yes.
It's tough in this game. The game has become so lethal. You know what I mean? Like every army has just devastating units. So yes, invest in your 90-point units. Invest in your 100-point units. Put them in your army. They deserve a spot. That little guy's gonna do something.
Yep. I like that. So we both agree to that. Let's jump into my next take. This one, we've definitely learned this from Blake and Mason, in my opinion. But redundancy is not boring. It is what keeps one bad priority roll or one dead hero from ending your game. So, having backup of the same thing. Sometimes you just gotta run. Like, what is it? 8 spawn I showed heck?
Yeah. Or what was the recent one that we were seeing? Like 40 rot swords.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I've got plenty of these. I'm good.
Or Blake with his 50 true blades or whatever it is.
Yeah, his 100 true blades coming in.
Yeah. So it's yes. Some people call them spam lists.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like, what's that on your Masubi?
Sometimes something's so good you gotta bring it 6 times, right?
Yes, exactly. That or just having a backup for something. It's kind of nice. I remember there'd be times. So when I did run in Sylvaneth, I did cut down my final list. Was eventually it was just Drycha was the only caster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes people would kill Drycha, and I'm like, shit. Now I have no more spells. And our spells aren't great. Aren't they're not needed, but man, they're nice to have.
When I see Dark Oath players, I see how their whole strategy is to put these blobs of men on the front line, and then they die, but then they do blowback mortals, and there's just more that are coming. And...
You just sent bombs in, basically.
Yeah, so it's like playing Thorns in Diablo. You know what I mean? If you come and hit me, it's punishing.
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I've seen lists made entirely of little 90, 110 point models. I don't like a spam list personally. I like a little variety in my army. I like to see a full range on the table. But yeah, man.
I agree.
If you got 80 twist wills, let it rip.
You know
what I mean?
if your name is Gavin Greiger, you could do well with that list.
Yeah. I remember very early in the start of 4th edition, people were like, 120 clan rats is the way.
That was it? Yeah. Your back is going to hurt by the end of this tournament, but you might win.
It's like, can you put up 120 wounds?
Yeah, that is... quite a bit.
That's quite a bit, bro.
It's a damage check, right?
Yeah, can you put up 120 wounds and each one of those recur another 30 more wounds?
Yeah, exactly. So, you're like, that's gross.
Yeah, it's funny. So, yeah, let it rip on the spam list, boys. Let it rip on the redundancy.
All right, so let's hear your next take.
The best lists are not the ones that look strongest before the game. They're the ones that can still score after the plan falls apart.
I think that's a good take, actually. That's very good. And I think you're right.
I've seen people win games with 1 or 2 units.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people really depend on a unit, and then that unit dies, and then they lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've seen games where a person has no units, and they've won.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think Zach won his last tournament game because tabled because he had just done enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy couldn't take back everything to score his tactics, so it's just yep.
It makes me think of your game, and it's if you get tabled too quickly and they have no way to score their tactics, they might just lose from not being able to score their tactics. A lot of the stuff now requires you to interact with your opponent.
Yep.
I remember during Scourge of Gairan, becoming the underdog, you could shut off somebody else's tactics by never letting them become the underdog. So
yes, that one I loved. That one. That was
in my last game with Scourge of Akshi, without being the underdog, you can never lift that cloud, and it's a lot to deal with, brother.
It shuts off your army
for sure.
All right, so I'm gonna give my last take on list building, and that's gonna be the most dangerous lists are not always the ones with the highest ceilings. It's the one that you can pilot cleanly for 5 rounds.
I feel like pilot over unit viability will always supersede when it comes to gameplay.
True.
a good pilot can take any list and make it look really good.
Yep.
But
well, as long as he's good at piloting that list.
Absolutely.
You know, I remember, so when we were talking earlier about Gavin Geiger, he ran that twist wheel list, remember? It was a twist wheel spam list, and I think everybody thought they're like, oh, I could take this list and do really good. And then we watched multiple people try to run that same list and get demolished. And it's one of those like, oh, he's good at piloting this. He understands how to win with this. Just because a list is here does not mean that you can win with this. You need to also understand how to pilot this list, which I think even breaks it even more down to where it's like, play the games with your list. Don't just build a list and then go into a tournament the next day.
I feel like the person who curated the list, like the person who originally wrote it, is always going to kind of know how to play it better than somebody who might copy it, right?
Well, because they had an idea, right?
Absolutely.
Like, they're like, oh, my sauce is over here. Like, I'm doing this over here.
Absolutely. You know, recently I saw a list that went 4-1 on the Honest Gamers, like on the Honest Wargamers channel. And I was like, this is a cool list. Maybe I'll try it. But that does not mean I'm going to go 4-1 with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just one of those, like, I hope you understand, like, what's going on with this, right?
Yeah, you know, so, yeah, I agree with the take.
Love it. Let's hear your last take for list building.
Yeah, if you cannot explain what your list wants to accomplish by turn 2, you're not ready to play it.
Ooh, that's a good take.
Turn 1 is really easy to figure out, right?
Turn 1 is very easy to figure out. Oftentimes it's run up.
Yeah. Turn 2 and beyond, like, that's hard to, like, have forethought over, but you really do have to be thinking of it. You got to be thinking of where this thing is going to move to next. It's like chess. You got to try to be at least a move or two ahead of your opponent, and it's tough because your choices are evolving with the circumstances of the game, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So your choices might not always be clear because your circumstances may not always be clear. So get to know your list. Have a plan for all 5 turns. Have that plan be ready for you to fail your cast. Have that plan be ready for you to not hit that 3-up. Have that plan, you know, be ready for if that unit just dies from a counter shot. You know what I mean? So,
All right. Picture this. You have a tournament tomorrow, your list is due, your models are packed, and there's no more time to pretend that you're going to get 3 extra practice games in tonight. That's where the panic starts. This round is tournament tomorrow. The choices that matter when you're about to play a full day of Age of Sigmar. What do you bring? What do you practice? And what do you need to know? And what's just your tournament brain is convincing you that one last thing will save it all. Same deal. 10 takes, 5 each. Agree, disagree, or 50-50. All right, Scarecrow, let's start with our first take. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
yeah, so you got a tournament tomorrow, but you should not take a brand new army to a tournament just because somebody in line says it's the best army in the game. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the internet's going to talk, and people are going to say what is what and what isn't what, but here's the thing about the strongest army. No one can really say what it's ever going to be in this. There's too much variation. There's too many different pilots. There's too many variables. And then with the gameplay changing, with rules being eroded, points going up and down, there is no best thing. You need to abandon that mindset in this. The best thing for you, that is what you need to adopt and establish in your mind. It's too easy to follow trends. You know, a lot of people are saying right now, Daughters of Cain are overpowered, the Sylvaneth are overpowered, right? You know what I mean? But I've seen these armies lose.
Yep, exactly.
And I've seen these armies lose many a times. And so it's never a good idea to buy a new army just because that is what's perceived as powerful right now. That will not translate into success.
You know, it's one of those things, I'm waiting to see like all the Sylvaneth stuff go on sale because I think a lot of people did that. If they saw Sylvaneth,
sure.
they're like, because we got a great book, man. Sylvaneth got a great book.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shit on it there. I'm not gonna be one of those people where it's like, no, it's because I'm such a good pilot. I did 4-1. Like, no, dude,
no.
We got a sick book, which helps me set up better opportunities for myself. But you can see a bunch of people went out there right away, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get Sylvaneth. I'm gonna get Doc. I can't wait to see all those armies go on sale because I'm going to try to pick them up.
Yeah, I feel like we might even see that with Ogre Maw tribes, you know.
I agree.
That big box came out. Everybody was hungry for it. Everybody was eating it up.
Yeah, they were eating it up.
Everybody wanted seconds. But, Yeah, I could see like maybe if piloting them, because it's going to be a hyper elite army with few models, but they can do a lot of damage, take a lot of damage. I feel like they're going to be better Stormcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went find that people don't like that playstyle.
Yeah,
Especially
it's really
if
hard.
If you're a person who's going from like, hey, I had 120 models on the table, now I have 18.
Well, it's definitely like less forgiving. You know what I mean? It's one of those when you make a mistake, bro, you're gonna realize like, fuck.
For sure, and yeah, it's easy to fall for new army hype, new army hotness, new sculpts, bro. Like I think that's the Achilles heel for everybody.
Yeah. When they started like showing all the new Warhammer stuff,
look at
everyone's
those
like,
skulls.
"Oh, I need that."
Oh my god!
Can't tell you how many times I've almost played 40K.
yeah, no doubt.
I like that though. I think we can definitely agree on that take. Let's go ahead and give one of mine out. You should almost never make a major list change the night before an event.
Oof. 100%. 100%. 100%.
I'm not attacking anybody out there. But yeah, don't do it, man. Like I think one thing, especially when you're gonna go compete, right? You got a tournament tomorrow. You want to do well. Is get practice. Don't bring something you've never played before. Why? Like I just don't understand that. And I can see, people suggest things to you, then they are like, "Oh, this is good and this is good." It's like, man, if you've been playing this for the last month or whatever, the last 2 months, and you've been preparing with this, and this is the game you play every week, like, don't change up from that, especially the day before a tournament.
Yeah, that one doesn't need much explanation, guys. This whole freaking game is about preparation, right? From the building to the painting to the playing to the list building, it's about preparation, and you cannot get the preparation you need making hasty, unwarranted decisions the night before a tournament. You know what?
Even if the switch up you made is actually better list wise, like you didn't get any practice with it, so you will probably actually play better before.
Absolutely. Now, if it's a similar unit that does a similar role, but just a little bit better, now maybe we can talk a little bit. But again, reps is the king when it comes to competency in this, and you can't get reps in if you're changing something the night before.
100% agreed. 100%.
So yeah, maybe for casual games the night before, go ahead.
Yeah.
Switch it up.
Play all you want. You know what I mean?
But for tournament, no. Be steady.
Yeah. All right, Jesse. Let's hear yours.
Knowing when not to take a fight is one of the biggest differences between a casual game and a tournament game.
Oh, now I feel attacked.
Engagement selection, yeah.
Now I feel attacked. There's been a lot of times I've just yeeted my shit in there and it died right away.
I feel like after our last little practice game, I really helped drill it into your head that, hey, these croc scores don't need to be active turn one.
Yeah, no, you're 100%
I was like,
right.
none of your for early game scoring requires them to swing.
Just because you can run in charge doesn't mean you need to run in charge.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like it's called counterplay. It's okay to do a little counterplay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's more than one turn going on this game. Just so
For
you
sure.
know.
We've all done it. I had that prosecutor. 3 reinforced units of prosecutor list.
We tried to make that work for so long. I remember sitting there plotting. I was like, no, I want this to go.
Everyone's got if you've got it cavalry. I'm going to have a whole bunch of cavalry, and because they can go so far, I'm going to win right away.
We're going to be in there turn one. And then we're going to fight.
The game will punish you for this kind of hubris. They'll be like, here's your 5-inch charge. And you're like, ah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think we can both agree to that then.
For sure.
All right, I got one next take. Practicing deployment and your first 2 turns is far more valuable than another game where you barely remember what happened. We actually had that playthrough Tuesday, and we talk about this all the time about like those times where it's like in the reckless room where we're all sitting there and like we didn't even get to play our game. You know what I mean? It's just like we ran through these first 2 turns and simulated them.
Theory hammer.
Yep, exactly. And I think that actually has helped us grow so much more. We literally just did this Tuesday, So, and it's one of those like, man, I'm going to come away from this without taking a lot more data than I would have just if we played.
Absolutely. Granted, playing is more fun.
Agreed.
I feel like if I have a little bit more preparedness, it's going to lead to more interesting games rather than these games where like the whole game was dictated by a misplay because we don't know what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I've had those games, and you know, it's fun when you're on the giving end of it. You're like, all right, you misplayed, now I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to give it to you in full. But, you know, when you're on the receiving end of that, where you're like, dang, all I did was just deploy 6 inches to the left. If I wouldn't have done that, things would be way different.
Yep, we'd be in a different world right now.
So, yeah, it's tough, but, yeah, you really have to... You really have to approach this thing as a student when you don't have a full understanding of the general handbook. And it's like they knew when they wrote this thing out that it was going to confuse people because they haven't eroded a single thing out of this.
No, it does not seem like it. Like, nope, it's still exactly the same. You're going to clean this up? No. All right, Scarecrow, let's hear your next take.
Yeah, so the best players are not the ones who never tilt. They're the ones who can reset after a bad round.
I like that, actually. There's been a lot of people in games where you've seen, like I've seen,
Yeah.
where I played somebody and then something happened and you could see this guy quit.
They're like, fuck, it's
They're
over.
done.
Yeah. There's no greater triumph in Age of Sigmar where it's seemingly like you have no way out, but then a shift happens. Maybe you get that double turn. Maybe you just roll incredible odds. Maybe you finally get all those buffs that weren't going off the whole game. You have to be prepared to have that turn where nothing goes right and still have a plan to battle back. You can battle back. They wouldn't have underdog mechanics in the game if you couldn't battle back. So definitely, like, you know, don't let one bad round, one bad decision, one bad like combat outcome put you in a mind state where this is unwinnable. This is not even worth playing anymore. I'm just going to throw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, agreed. 100% agreed.
Always battle back. You know what I mean? Even if you have nothing left, battle back, you know. I feel like in Sigmar, there's this, you know, lore happening during gameplay, right? And you always want to believe your army went out swinging, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, then it's just one of those, like, I'll be honest, I've had times where it's like I've lost a certain unit, I'm like, shit. You know what I mean?
That's the end.
But as you start playing the turns later in the game, you're like, oh man, this is a lot closer than I expected this to be. You know, I expected you to just come over here and run all over me now that this is gone, but there's a lot of contributing factors to winning this game.
Yes, 100%.
You know, so I think that's, like, don't quit, basically.
100%.
On top of that, like, just as, like, a player, you know, like, you don't want to play against the guy who just quits.
Yeah.
Right? I've done it before, and I know it's, like, poor sportsmanship. You know?
It takes a while, and it takes a lot of losses to develop a thick skin.
Yeah.
You got to play with some cool people, too.
Agreed.
You know, nothing worse than getting pounded out by a fucking snobby player. But, you know, it takes a while to develop that thick skin. But it will develop. You know, this is a game at the end of the day. Like, this is supposed to be, like, nonsense.
Yeah.
So don't ever let it, you know, put you in a state where, like, you're not enjoying it. If you're not enjoying this thing, you need to walk away.
Yep.
Because I've had plenty of enjoyments, you know, where I wasn't the successful one. Celebrate your opponent's success. Make them feel good about winning. So that way when it's your turn, it can happen with you too.
Yes, exactly. All right, for my next take, food, water, and a clear head and good sportsmanship are actual competitive tools. What's your thoughts, Jess?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take care of yourself.
It's key parts of the game, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so my fifth and final take for this segment is most people practice killing things more than they practice scoring points, and it shows.
Yeah. We already talked about it a little bit, where it's like you just see everybody, oops, all hammers, you know. And then you're like, oh, I thought they for sure were going to win. It's like, oh, you have nothing to score points.
I heard everybody say it at the start of this General's Handbook. They're like, oh, if I can't score the tactics, I can just play for power, right?
Yep, I'm going to kill you.
I'll just kill you. But that's where they're going to find themselves incorrect. Because I swear, you can score, like, your beginning tactics really early and then have your army tabled and you lock them out of their tactics.
Yep. No, exactly. That's it. I think you're 100% you're right. I think we're really going to start seeing the real good players of this DHB are going to start separating themselves out from the ones who are like, it's not power based anymore.
Yeah,
You know
I'm seeing just when I look at the BCP for tournaments that are happening right now, people are having 80-point games.
Yep.
So that means that they're scoring every one of those tactics.
I like the list you sent me. You know what I mean? Where you said that it was like the 4 units of like the horses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, it wasn't. None of this stuff deals damage, but like, oh, they're still
it
winning
can be
the
where
game.
you need it to be to win the points. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with this. Like, you need to build towards making those points. You're gonna have to kill stuff. Everybody knows that, and every army has something that can kill something, no matter what, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's got that unit that has Ren 2. They can get it to 2s into 2s, and it does 2 to 3 damage. Everyone's got that. I don't care what army you got. I can find that unit in it. But that those units that are going to score you 2 or 3 of your battle tactics every single game, regardless of the circumstances, those are the really important units. And you don't really know what those are until you start playing the game extensively and trying different lists, until you find out you're like, hey man, this little unit right here, it has no problem at all getting to this part of the board. Yep. This unit right here has no problem at all securing this objective. So yeah, play for points. Stop building the oops all hammers. Start having a makeup of what your list is trying to accomplish. I feel like you want to accomplish at least one of your secondary tactics every turn. Having a 20-point turn is awesome, and it should be doable at least once every game, I feel like.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But consistently scoring 15 on each turn, that's a pathway.
That's just as good, man.
That's a pathway to a perfect game too. So
think about it this way: if you score 10 points for your primary and you score all your primaries, right? That's 50 points. Mm-hmm. And then if you score 5 points for each of your tactics, that's 30 points. That gets you your 80-point game. Right?
Yes.
That's your perfect game, and you can score those secondaries.
I feel like
it doesn't got to be turn 1.
Planning for a 15-point turn is much simpler than planning for a 20-point turn.
Yep.
20-point turn is situational. That's they misplayed. That's the right circumstances lined up to where you could get it. But you definitely don't want to sacrifice key pieces to have a 20-point turn. Have a 15-point turn and keep those pieces on the board.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to discern what that is right now. With the GHB being so fresh.
Yeah. And even maybe start off with like, hey, I know I can score this battle tactic 1.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like maybe not turn 1, but I can at least score this one.
Absolutely.
Some of them they're real difficult, and they're really built towards like certain lists, certain units, certain builds, right? At least try to make sure that you're capable and plan out ahead of time that I can at least score this one and I can score this one.
Yep.
Try to get 10. You know what I mean? Alright, that's 30 takes down, and that's the thing about tournaments. Nobody's ever going to feel perfectly ready, but knowing your list, having a plan, and keeping your head when the dice get weird will get you farther than chasing one more last-minute change. Alright guys, we're in the home stretch now. Every faction has somebody online saying that they're either completely broken, absurdly dead, or one small change away from taking over the game.
Yeah, it's so hard with so many factions and so many different play styles, and you and I suffer from this more than most. Just having the variety there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've said this before, like, this is like a fighting game and we want every character.
Yep, exactly. I'm trying to unlock everybody.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely. But when it comes to your faction, when it comes to your rules, there's just certain takes that we have, and let's see if the listeners agree or not. My first take is this. Chasing the newest top army is usually more expensive and less rewarding than getting good with the army you already love.
I love it. 100% agreed. I'm 1,000% on board with that. We were talking a little bit about it earlier, about how everybody jumps into these armies because they got these really good books. And man, I get it. Especially if you've been playing for a while and you're tired of losing and you're like trying to figure out this new thing. Get good at like what you have. You know what I mean? Because you can win. Like people have gone to show, like if you're a good player, you can win with different things. You know what I mean? You don't need to run what everybody else is running.
Here's the thing, too. It's any one of us players, that's you listening. That's anyone who's ever played us. They're one game away from showing the new meta.
Exactly.
From exposing what's broken.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's how these things get discovered. Somebody was just, having theory hammer, having mental hammer in their head when they were writing that list. And they're like, I'm going to go out and try this. And, it's hard to believe, but somebody was the very first person to run the 2 Varangard.
Yep.
Somebody was the very first person to run 40 eels.
yeah. That was the first list that came to my mind. It's like, someone would finally accrued 40 different eels, and they're like, we can do this.
Like, what if I just have eels, right? You know what I mean? So the newest game-breaking thing is already waiting to be discovered, and you might discover it tomorrow in your game.
Yeah.
And so, that's just pure and simple. So if you're chasing the new army that everybody loves, so right now it's Ogre Maw tribes, right?
Yep.
So if you're just abandoning your Daughters of Cain because you love those Ogre Maw tribes, if you're just abandoning your Skaven because you're tired of saving on 5-ups. You know what I mean? You might be making a costly mistake because you might have been 1 or 2 units away from making your beloved army meta.
Yeah.
Now you're a whole army. You're a whole 2,000 points away because you're chasing this new hot thing. I think with the Sylvaneth, it was probably easy to do that, like we talked about. I feel like with the Ogre Maw tribes, it's easy to do that. It was easy for me when I first started this hobby. I had gotten to Stormcast, a giant range.
Yeah,
with
huge.
1 million models. And I'm like, oh, I just need this model, and then everything's going to change. I just need that model, and everything's going to change. Learn to appreciate what you have, and then move on. That being said, brother, I'm sick of Stormcast.
I love the Stormcast. They're starting to make this appearance in the meta all of a sudden.
Yes.
And I'm not happy.
The more distance I put between myself and the Stormcast, the more they're popping up everywhere.
It does feel like that. Like you finally put them away, and now everybody's like bringing them out, and it's like, this was what I expected when we first got into the game. Like,
yes.
Like, oh cool, we're gonna jump into the competitive scene. There's gonna be a lot of Stormcast,
Sure.
And then we go out there and no Stormcast, none. There's nobody playing Stormcast, and I was like, that's fucking
I feel like
weird.
I'm really going against the grain right now, too, because I'm like, I'm playing the OBR. And
Yeah,
everybody's like, why?
You know they got a new book like 6 months ago, right?
Yeah, so it's okay, because at the end of the day, you got to go with what you love more than what the community loves.
Yep, and people have proven that, if you can play with what you love, you can win still.
Yes. So, always play for the love of the game. Never play for the love of the win. This game, you could win every single game, but if you're not a cool person...
Nobody's going to want to play with you.
Nobody's going to play with you. So it's like, you find yourself in a no-win situation that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never want to be that person who's like, hey, does anyone want to play with me? And everybody unanimously is like, no. You just hear the crickets chirping. You're like, maybe I need to chill out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. All right, I love that take. I think that's a really solid one. I'm going to hit my first take for our factions in meta, and that it's way too early in a new season to call a faction dead because it had one rough weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm preaching about OBR. You know what I mean? So there, there's objectively good armies and objectively bad armies.
Agreed.
But I just feel like the worst army in the hands of a good player will look like the best army. The best army in the hands of a crappy player is going to look like a crappy army. So never get into this. His army's just better. That shouldn't be in your mind. You know what I mean? Your decisions should be better. That's what you should have in your mind.
Yeah, your choice making and
yes.
You're like, do I understand and do I have all the tools to do all the things that I need to do?
Absolutely. There's no reason to not overthink to not underthink or overthink your decisions. Give them ample time while you're making them. Don't just make a decision and then ask yourself immediately after making it, why did I do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you find yourself
because I read on the internet that this was good.
Yeah. And you gotta tell your opponent, do you mind if I just take that back and do it this way? And they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead. Because, there's nothing worse than realizing mid-move that you shouldn't be making that move, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of look sheepishly across your table. You're like, hey, I don't know why I was just overcome with stupidity, but can we just pretend I wasn't? And then usually if you have a cool opponent, they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right, I love that. Let's hear your next one, Scarecrow.
A difficult army is not a bad army, but you have to be honest about whether you are willing to put in the reps.
Ooh, that's a good one. That one, and
It's hard because when you lose, it feels bad, and you feel like it's your fault, and you feel like you if you would have just done this one thing, you wouldn't have felt this way, and then you go to do it again, and it happens again and again and again. You know, I think of the people who went 0-5 in the tournaments we've been to. I think of the people who just come out and lose every weekend at Gamers Guild. You know, it wasn't too long ago I was one of those people. You know what I mean? Like, I probably still lose more games than I win, but yeah, you have to honestly ask yourself, like, hey, even in loss, did I have fun? Was this doing what I wanted it to do? Did I get to have that moment where I'm like, hey, this is why I like this army, because it does this thing?
Well, that's like, sometimes this game can be rough, right? Because me and you are lucky enough, like, we're at least getting our one game in a week, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when we lose, me and you both go home and think on that game for a fucking week. Until we're at the next game, right? You know, until like, fuck.
There's
until next Friday, like, I'm not going to be able to have a chance to, like, redeem myself.
There's Sigmar fundamentals that you gain just from the mistakes that you make, right? So it's like, I would have never become this player that I am now if I hadn't gone and done these dumb things in real time in front of real people. So, yeah, forgive yourself, forgive your army. It's not you, it's not your army. Circumstances. Always question your decisions. Don't question your army. Don't question your models. Don't question your units. You know what I'm saying? It's your decisions. Your decisions are what's shaping this game.
Yeah.
Don't let the rules be your circumstances. You know, too often I've heard, I'm just putting OBR away until the next edition. And maybe then they'll be good.
We've heard it enough, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to show you that these guys can be good, that they can be fun. I know so many people who defend their armies vehemently. You know, there's some armies that don't hardly get any representation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially.
I think about Rick and Zinch and how, like, in our meta, he's like the only Zinch guy.
He's the Zinch guy.
Yeah, and you know, I've heard people say, "Oh, Zinch are just bad. That's why." But I've seen Rick play them amazingly. So. Again, there's just no such thing as a bad army.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
that alone is a hot take.
Yep, yeah, exactly. I think it's your reps, man. The Games Workshop is really good about, like, when they release a model, they come up with, like, some kind of use for it usually. You know what I mean?
Sure. What do you think of this take? New seasonal rules reward the player who adapts faster, not the player who keeps trying to force last season's plan.
Oh, that's really good.
We talked about how there's, like, parallels, right? Like, we called Flanking Firestorm the new scouting forces. We're like, oh, so this is just scouting forces. We called the one where it's like you got to go over there and kill the hero. We're like, this is the new Master of the Paths, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the writers knew that some people would approach it this way. I'm gonna find the Scourge of Akshi battle tactics that are similar to the Scourge of Gairan ones, and I'm gonna run the same game plan. You listeners, if that's working out for you, let me know, because I don't think it's working out for me. I don't think it's working out for anybody I know that's playing.
It's not working out for old Grizzly over here.
Everything is just different enough where you can't formulate your plan the same way. And you know, I'm glad it's that way, because I don't want to keep playing the game the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's a battle pack, it should change the way we do battle.
Yeah,
right?
You know, when I was talking to Zach, he was saying the same thing. He's like, this should change everything. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't just be able to run the same list. Like, we should always be, like, the battle plan should affect how you're playing the game. You know?
Yes.
And it's not always going to be in your favor. And sometimes it's going to be in your opponent's favor and not in your favor.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't predict how Warhammer is, because it's a dice game. There's so much variation. You can't predict anything. Everything is this weird random generator that we call dice, right?
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, 100% I agree with that.
I love that. Let's throw this next take out here. Tell me what you think about this. The best meta call is not chasing the last 5-0 list. It is understanding why the list worked.
Yeah. You see a list going 5-0, everyone's like, I just need to run that and I'm going to win, right?
Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with, like, it's the top player in the country running it.
That's the problem with looking at stats, you're right. Stats don't account for the decisions that are being made during gameplay. We all know that this game takes 4 to 5 hours to play out. If you're in a tournament setting, they're giving you 3 hours. You're getting an hour and a half each. Even at that time span, that's a lot of game decision time. So you have to really look at a battle report or play the person yourself before you can decide, hey, this 5.0 list, it is for sure going to work for me.
Yes. Well, you understand. You're gonna understand like why you're doing with what. You know what I mean? If you take like the screen unit that looks like a hammer unit, and you're trying to use it as a hammer, and you're like, why isn't this working?
Sure.
Like, because he's not doing his job.
Yeah.
You know. So,
you can't understand something's role until you've seen its reps. You know what I mean? There's like units that I thought were hammers, but they were more like screens. There's units that I thought didn't have a lot of movement, but they turned out to be movement powerhouses. I'm using them wrong. But I agree 100% with that take.
Let's hear your next take.
A faction should be judged by its game plan and matchups, not just its win rate.
Ooh, I think that.
We keep talking about stats, and again, you can look at 5.0s. You can look at win rate. This army has a 62% win rate.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then why am I losing 100% of the time?
I love that. That's 100%.
Again, these are metrics that are being judged by players all around the world. Okay? And anyone who's watched the Honest Wargamers channel, where he breaks down the stats, we're talking about things in Poland, we're talking about things in Russia, we're talking about things in the European Union, we're talking about things down here in the Southwest in America. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be talking about Old Town Throwdown in the coming week. With the diverse pool of players from all across the world, with countless army variation, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We could have a tournament with 8 Slanesh players. It could be completely different lists.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard to look at a percentage to a win rate, a 5.0 record, and be like, why isn't everybody buying this?
Yeah.
Why is anybody playing the other stuff when this is so guaranteed and assured? It's really not. It's the mind behind it. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing we've been talking about this whole time, right?
Yeah, all of these armies are just giant mechs that somebody's still got to get inside and pilot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And we've all been bad pilots of armies, I think.
Yep,
You know, it takes a long time to where you're a good pilot. The only way to become a good pilot is piloting badly.
It takes a long time for you to even become a mid-pilot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The lessons in this game come from self-harm.
Rolling recklessly does not endorse self-harm.
Self-harming gameplay.
Yeah, it's self-harming gameplay.
What I mean?
You make mistakes, right? We all make mistakes.
Because I've never hurt myself physically, but I've rolled 6 once.
Yeah, exactly.
And that hurt me physically.
I think I'm going to be sick.
You're like, it's 2s and a 2s. 4 1s.
Yeah.
Fuck!
I love that. So I think we can both agree on that.
Absolutely.
To tie into this take, I'm going to hit you with this one. Your local meta matters more than for an RTT than national win rate does.
Yeah, you know, on the national scale, they could say, Ogre Maw Tribes is killing everybody. You go to your RTT, you built your whole plan about encountering Ogre Maw Tribes. They're like, we don't have any Ogre players, we got plenty of Gits players. Oh, shit.
Yeah. This plan did not work out in my favor.
I was like, my whole game plan was built to counter Iron Guts. Yeah, so your local meta, pay attention to like what everyone around you is playing. You know what I mean? It's hard in our local meta because everyone plays everything.
Because everyone plays, yeah, exactly. We've got a bunch of Sigmar addicts out here.
Yeah, so take a look at what's happening locally. Take a look at what are people around you are playing. You know, counterplay is the worst kind of play in my opinion.
I agree. Play your army.
You know what I mean? Play your army. Be prepared for anything.
Play your army. Know everyone else's army, but play your army.
Absolutely. Now, granted, playing 4 Gargants or freaking Mega Gargants is going to be a lot different than playing 120 Clan Rats.
Yep, 100%.
So, do what your army does. Accomplish your tactics through the means that only your army presents, right?
Yeah. And then consider, like, hey, if 5 out of your 10 players do you play Gargants, like, be ready.
Be ready. Yeah, a lot of shooting on deck.
Like he can't obscure himself. Keep that in mind.
Right.
How about you, Scarecrow? What's your next take?
Let's see. Oh, that was all of mine.
That was all yours?
That's all my takes. Yeah.
All right. I think I got one last one for us. The next army people complain about is probably not the one that everybody's preparing for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what were the nuisance armies. I mean, I'm always thinking of that slaves list with the double Varangard.
Yeah, that's 100% what I always think of.
Yeah,
is the Varangard list.
I think of like the all bloodthirsters list.
Yeah, that.
Man,
Gargants. You
Gargants,
can
yeah.
see people don't like Gargants, and right now Gargants are, especially with that new
that Scourge of Oxy Gatebreaker. Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing that list pop up on a lot of the like. I'm submitting this for this tournament list.
You know what I seen was somebody had it was like Gatebreakers and a Cog Fort. It's one Cog Fort and a bunch of Gatebreakers, or 3 or whatever. Yeah.
Look, it's gonna make transportation easy.
Where's your army? It's like they're in my hands.
It's like here it is. You know, I could, you know, if I were Goro, I'd be carrying the whole army.
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, you know, who was it? Eric R. recently told me, he's like, hey, when you're playing 5 games over 2 days, it's nice to turn your brain off on those last 2 games. And I'm like, I thought Mega Gargants turned their brain off on the first game. Isn't it just move forward?
Go forward.
Yeah. It's go forward and try to like suplex them into the other Gargants. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, man, so many hot takes. I have one last one for this segment.
Let's hear it.
Almost every faction has a playable build. The hard part is figuring out what that build is actually trying to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Too much variation. See, and that's where this hobby is good. Because I'm going to throw a stone and hit 17 corn players because they're just that cool, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's red, it's demons, it's freaking... It's spikes, it's axes. Everyone's going to love being a corn person, right?
Well, then everybody likes to fight, right? Like, we all go into this game and fight. It's like, well, what's the best fighting army?
But you look at a corn army, you're like, are they all demons? Are they all mortals? Are they half mortals, half demons? Are they all bloodthirsters? Is it no bloodthirsters? Is it no demons? This is all just mortals. So, it's, you know, it's hard to be like, this list is going to be what everyone sees. You know, for the longest time, I thought there was nothing outside of the Oops All Bloodthirsters list because every battle report was that.
That's all it was.
Every competitive tournament I went to, I would see that. But I think with the change and the new GHB, we're going to start seeing some more variation. And just the change in the rule set is just going to pave way to that. So, man, I remember when Scourge of Gyran was ending, we were like in agony for the next hot thing. And now that it's here, I'm in agony to like have the understanding I had in Scourge of Gyran.
Bring me back to the good old days.
Bring me back to when I wasn't like walking around like with my hands on my head going, what was going on? Why won't this game do what I used to?
Just lift up the ash cloud, please.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, man. I think that's great. I love that. I think that'll be a good way to close out this segment. Alright guys, we got 1 round left. We've saved the dangerous one for last. No more careful meta-analysis, no more pretending. These are reasonable takes. Let's jump into some reckless takes. I'll go in first. A fully painted army is always way cooler than a perfectly optimized grade one.
Fully painted and battle ready turns you into a goat.
Yep.
Right.
If you got basing, you got some toughs. It's almost like who has got the most toughs on their base contest.
You could have the most shit list we've ever seen. But if it's fully based and painted, you're going to have respect regardless.
Yep, agreed.
They're going to be like, maybe I wouldn't have gone with 180 blue horrors, but these look really great.
Yep.
Right? I think about, what's his name? Ramses, and he has like the Oops All Birds. The All Birds list in Stormcast. And he has them just painted in like, you know, like birds would be. Bright colors, bright feathers. And that, you know, is it meta to run all chickens in Stormcast? I don't know. You know, the verdict is still out. But I do know when I see them, I put a big smile on my face. I'm like, that is really, really cool. Like, birds. Birds in Stormcast. So, yeah, having your thing fully painted, I mean... Aside from winning in high fashion, is there anything more satisfying than looking down at your army and it's fully like painted and based?
Exactly, especially when you can like look down and you know you put in all the time and effort and
even
work
when you
to make
put it away
beautiful.
on that shelf for another day. It's just like, God, that thing is fully painted, fully based. Whenever I go to people's like houses, whenever I go to local game stores and I look into their cabinet and I see the fully painted armies, I'm just like, you bastard, I want this.
He's like, don't worry, this is shit. It's not fun to play, but it's beautiful. So
hey, look, by the end of this year, I'm looking to have 2 fully painted and based 2,000-point armies.
We're working there, man. We're
gonna get there.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there, bro. You know, I seen you complete your Sylvaneth. You've seen me nearly complete my Stormcast. It's a good feeling, and it's gonna be nice to have 2 armies that we can just be like, hey, those are ready when we're ready.
Yep. You know how crazy it is to say you have nearly completed Stormcast?
with the range.
Yeah, with the range that you guys have.
The range,
It's gnarly. And then I know you have, like, reinforced stuff.
Yeah.
that's painted. Like, that's crazy.
It's weird. I have reinforced stuff. I've got proxies. I've got all kinds of, like, things, and it's like Stormcast. All it's going to take is 5th edition being like, here's another wing of Stormcast.
Yeah, you're like, stop it, please.
the give us more money chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I got you.
Your wallet down there like, I'm tired, Grandpa.
I'm like the Excelsior chamber. These fuckers aren't even trying anymore. I'm like, what the hell? They're called the chamber.
This is the Sigmar chamber. You're like, what? I guess. Here's my money.
Yeah. So when they refreshed those Liberators, I was all over that.
Yeah.
I was all over that. I was like, I'm glad that I came in on a 4th because a lot of refresh happened this edition.
Yep. A lot of refreshing good. A lot of good units. Let's hear your next take, Scarecrow.
Yeah, sure. Nobody should feel bad about playing with an unfinished army, but everyone should feel proud when they finally get it painted. I feel like that echoes what you're saying.
Yeah, agreed.
I will sort of disagree with this take because you should definitely feel bad if you're showing up to competitive play with an unpainted army.
Yeah, especially, obviously, there's rules at GTs, but it's like you don't want to be the guy at the RTT. It's like you only show up with gray and you show up with the new army every time.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Kind of like, dude, I'm going to boo-boo you there then. Like,
I'm going to say you couldn't throw one primer paint on this?
Yeah. You at least paint like the middle, man.
Casual, gray is okay to play, 100%.
Yeah, especially if you're just like learning the army.
All right, but if every time I play you it's gray, there's something going on here. There's something in your mind that's not allowing you to fully get on board here.
Well, especially if you're like running a different army every single time. That's when I'm like, dude, like finish one. Like, show up with something nice, please.
I remember when we were playing with mostly gray stuff, dude. It's easy to get confused with
It is.
Stormcast.
Yeah, super easy. There'd be a lot of times I'd look, I'm like, which ones are which?
Yeah.
I guess they're all Liberators.
Yeah.
Until you run into them and you're like, oh, these are Reclusions.
You know what I mean? I think about those 120 Clan Rat units. It's like, imagine that. Like, how the fuck do you know where this 10-man unit ends and this 10-man unit begins?
Exactly.
If it's 120 Gray Rats. So, yeah, I think that that this hobby requires paint on the model.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? We've all played with gray. We've all got gray to play. Let's not let that be our only identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be the guy that just plays gray.
I've been on a big painting lull, and I'm gonna extract myself out of that here soon. So if our listeners have had trouble painting, I'm right there with you. It's time to pick up the brush and get started again.
Yep, I agreed.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to have like another one of those chill days where we just chill and paint, man. Maybe we don't play, we just chill and paint and get our armies good and going.
That might be a future episode, the importance of paint.
Yep, I think we got to do it. What turn are we on? Are we on my take or your take?
It's on your take now.
We just did your take, so let's jump into mine. My take is roll consistently and really roll the dice.
I know what you're getting at here, Grizzly. There's this technique that me and Grizzly discovered, right? Where you could give the wimpiest roll and your dice kind of half rolls, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I agree with Grizzly. Let's see them some bitches scatter. I want to see it on the other side of the LGS.
If you do this shit where you like put it in your hand and you just like barely flip your hand over.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in Vegas and you do that at the craps table, somebody might punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, I think, it's called rolling the dice. That motherfucker better be rolling. And then on that matter, are we doing it in the tray or on the table? It's one or the other.
Yeah, be consistent with it. Don't like, oh, it popped out, I gotta re-roll it because it's a 2. But when it's a 6, it counts. Like, we're not doing that shit.
Recently I've been all about table rolling.
Yeah.
But after, playing with some of the Horde style armies that I have now and having to, I was thinking of like those triaxes and like shooting 41 shots. I don't want to be chasing 41 dice across, a 60 by 44 mat. I need the rolling tray. So, it's tough when you see it. You're like, hey, can you actually pick that up and roll it?
Yeah, could you please roll those dice? Yeah. And I get it. We're rolling recklessly. This is our vibe. This is our brand. But man, like I don't know why it irks me so. But when people do that little like flip
Wimpy
over,
flip, yeah.
Like I especially if they roll like 5 6s.
It feels akin to game manipulation, for sure.
Like I'm not a fan. How about your next take, Scarecrow? Let's hear it.
A rule can be complicated and still be worth having if it creates memorable moments on the table.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so like I said, that freaking rule where there's the ash cloud in the center of the ring.
Yes, that's a perfect one.
I fucking hated that rule, and it really got in the way of the game, but I'm going to remember that shit forever.
The Paths of the Fae one. Remember that one? It was like, you just teleport. Your opponent, underdog, gets to pick which units teleport or whatever. And
yeah.
That one was too much. I was not a fan of that one. That one was a complicated one I did not like, but I think I'm going to like this Ash one. You know what I mean? I think it's going to introduce some fun stuff.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it definitely, it makes the underdog paramount. Like, sometimes an underdog is slightly game-changing. In that Ash Cloud one, it was game-fucking-breaking. Like, you really need to be able to make that decision.
I like it. Let's jump into my next take. Asking your opponent what their army does is not weak. It's how you avoid losing to something that could have been clarified in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you want to ask the opponent, like, hey, what are your gotchas, if you will? Yeah. What does your army do? Like, hey, I've never played your army before. What's the key things I need to look out for?
Yeah.
And, and if you're requesting this information, you need to be forthcoming with it, too. I think you and I are pretty good at that, about saying, like, hey, this is what this army does. This is what they're known for. These are the things you have to look out for in case they come up later. Now, beyond the beginning kind of talking about it, I also think you should, have some reminders throughout gameplay. Not reminders in the fact that, you're carrying the other person's game, but just be like, he's like, hey, I'm going to shoot this unit. And you're like, hey, just so you know, when they're by this thing, they're -1 to hit when they're being shot.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of times where it's we could prevent Phil's bad moments because we, told people what we did.
For sure.
I played Sylvaneth, and it's like, we have a rule. It's like, spend a command point, and I can give strike first on your turn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like one of those, if you don't remember that, oh man, you're going to be mad when you hit this 12-inch charge and these Kurnoth hit you first.
Absolutely.
And it does. It's like a feels bad thing, and it's one of those well, man, we could have talked about this ahead of time.
Yeah.
There was one game I remember at the Heroes Cup GT. I played this kid. They were llama boys. They were just very focused on trying to win. And it was very obvious that was their goal was they were trying to win. And I get it, bro. We're all trying to win. I'm going to try to prevent as many feels bad moments as I possibly can for people. That was not on their mind. And there was a moment where I was playing against the Cities of Sigmar, and they have this really cool ability where the cavalry can charge while they're in combat on your turn. So he was able to, I surrounded his cavalry, and I happened to move one extra unit out of the way, so he was able to run his cavalry basically out of combat with all my stuff and into one other thing. It was a feels bad moment for a thing, and it was one of those things man, I should have asked him in the beginning, hey, what's your kind of gotcha stuff, and I tried to clarify that. You could just see obviously some people that win means more, and I feel like just trying to learn helps. It's just asking and just vocalizing and putting it out there. At least you do your part. All right, Scarecrow, what's your next take?
Playing quickly is good. Rushing your opponent so they cannot think is not.
Oh, busting out
the chess clock, yeah. And I feel like if you bust out the chess clock, you better adhere to it too.
Yes, exactly. That a rule applies to everybody.
Mm-hmm. You might feel confident busting out the chess clock early game, and then late game you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said too, it's like you said, don't rush your opponent. So I played against a person who chess clocked me, but they were reminding me to hit my chess clock. Aaron Elias is one of those people who did that. He pulled out the chess clock with my very first GT game ever. And he told me, he's like, hey, man, this is for me to make sure I'm tight with my stuff, but I'll remind you, too. So, yeah, be respectful of time. This is a 3.5 hour game on average. could be 5 hours if you're bullshitting like we are. So, yeah, be respectful of one another's time for sure. But yeah, never rush your opponent, dude. This is such a confusing game, and rushing somebody just confuses them more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to learn, especially if you're not like in like a competitive environment. Like, I get it. Like, we're trying to like work on time bases, and we're all like working with within each other's time span. Like you said, you know, it could turn into a 5-hour game really easily.
For sure, yeah.
But like, you know, like make sure you're being cool. You know, like you want to be somebody that this person plays again, right?
Yep.
For my next take, I've got this one. Getting tabled does not automatically mean you had a bad game.
No. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel good, and we've all been there. Table turn 1, table turn 2, right?
Yeah.
Try to take the lesson of how that happened away from the game. You know what I mean? And don't let it deflate you. Just be like, hey, this is the steps I need to do to ensure that this doesn't happen anymore. Threat ranges are the biggest thing that you need to discuss going into a game. Like, how much threat can you pose? How far can you go? Can you run and charge? Can you get extra shooting distance? This is stuff you don't really figure out until you've played a little bit. But yeah, you know, don't let getting tabled be like, oh, I need to get out of this hobby.
Yeah.
Tabling is part of the game. One day you will table somebody, you know. And it'll feel great, and it'll make you be like, okay, I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah. Well, it's like we talked about earlier. Like, there's times where it's like, man, you get tabled and you won.
Well, see, you know, it's not, you know, we know it's a big major thing because when you go to somebody, you're like, hey, did you win your game? And they go, I was tabled. That's like worse than saying I lost.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I lost would have been a step up. I got tabled was like, oh yeah, I got beat, stomped, robbed, shit on.
It's like when you're playing Tekken, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, did you win? You're like, no, I actually didn't even hit the other guy.
Right. A flawless victory, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, table can hurt, but it is not the end all, and it happens so often in this fucking hobby that it's not shocking when somebody tells me, hey, I just got tabled. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, part of the game, man.
Yeah.
Let's hear your next take, Scarecrow.
The best compliment in Age of Sigmar is hearing, that was a great game, even after you lose.
I like that, actually. I agree to that. I like that.
My favorite thing to say when somebody's like, that was a great game after I lost, is I go, no the fuck it wasn't. Great for who? Great for you?
Yeah. Just 100% full on port sport. Like, oh, I'm happy you had fun.
I'm just like this. I'm just yelling at my Stormcast, like getting to table level. What's wrong with you? Block! Fucking block!
Like, is that guy okay? Like, no, he's just got to have a talk with his models when he gets home.
You're like, 3-inch charge? You can't make a fucking 3-inch charge! Like, spitting on your model. Yeah, but a great game comes from being a great player. Sportsmanship, you know what I mean? Charisma, celebrating your opponent's success, you know what I mean? Not getting tilted when the dice, you know, betray you. It takes discipline. It takes time. I don't expect everyone to maintain that all the time. This game can frustrate you into a different person.
Oh, it sure can. It sure can. The 2-inch charge thing, that's the one that gets me. That's what it's like.
You can make 3 inches?
So one of those like, yeah, it's gotta be 3. I'm getting this, right? I barely even need to roll the dice. I just can't do
3.
That.
No!
God damn it. Alright, speaking of that, my next take, just because I think the dice betray us a lot less often than we claim, and that we just blame them on bad decision making. This was one thing I felt like I learned a lot, especially in the like very beginning when we first started playing like pretty regularly. Because sometimes I felt like I was just rolling shit. It was like this is total bullshit. But it did make me learn to be a much better player. So it's like, take the dice roll out of the equation.
Robert, I will be fair to you and let the listeners know that Robert here rolls a little less than average.
Me and Josiah, we're right there, bro.
Yeah. I've met a few people. Josiah and Robert immediately come to mind. They just roll poorly. I think our boy Nick, he suffers from poor rollitis.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I'm praying for you guys. Literally, I am. Because I suffer from the opposite. Like, I'm blessed with my rolls beyond my abilities. So... yes, luck is a factor, and luck is a thing that is a fickle mistress, right? It decides who it's coming to the dance with, and it will leave you mid-dance. So, Yeah, I think that's the reason we all keep playing this game, even, if our abilities aren't matching our desire. Because almighty Lady Luck will put you in a position where you have your opponent going, wow, mathematically that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you're like, what's going on here?
You're like, mathematically I win that 80% of the time, and I turn into fucking Doctor Strange and put one finger up. I saw 400 billion realities, and in this one I made the charge. So, yeah, definitely. Getting into my hot take. The best time to establish a take-back policy is before mistakes are made. That's hard to do. You know what I mean? That's hard to do. Take-backsy and competitive shouldn't even be a thing. I'm going to be honest. I've allowed it. Yep. Because I'm a forgiving player, and I'm going to look for it for myself later on.
Yep, I've allowed it competitively.
That being said, if it were 2 phases ago, you're asking much, guy.
Yeah.
You're asking much. If I'm killing you in the end step and you're like, oh, wait, I meant to rally in the hero phase, it's too late, my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much too late. So, yes, take backseat, or I call retcon hammer.
Yeah.
It's really a table decision, right?
Yeah.
It's a table decision. Like, are your opponent and you agreeing to be as competitive as possible and to live with your mistakes? Or are you being chill like we were on Tuesday and we're expecting to see those mistakes and we're here to correct those mistakes?
Yes, exactly.
So, it's definitely situation-based. 100%.
I think that, yeah. Nope. Also, make sure, if you do have to take things back and you are the guy who brought the chess clock, that's on your time now, man.
That's true.
This is now your time. Don't try to be taking back stuff and doing all this stuff at my turn when we're being on a time limit that you've established.
Yeah, once chess clocks get involved, it changes the decorum, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you're thinking of what you're gonna do, that's on your time.
Yep, exactly.
You're right. So yeah, that's a good point to make.
My last take, and it's not that hot of a take, but I think the best thing you can do at an Age of Sigmar event is have a good attitude that makes somebody want to play you again.
Yes. Okay, so nobody wants to be playing with themselves. This is a 2-person hobby, right? It's like checkers. You can't play checkers by yourself. And if you are, you're probably not having that much fun. This game is dependent on you being able to find people who want to play with you. The only way people are going to want to play with you is if you are a fun and engaging opponent. And you have to learn to adjust yourself as a player. Somebody that I played with recently, Griffin, showed me that he can do that. Or he's like, hey, I have this really crazy list, or I have this other list where I can kind of meet you at your level. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. You've done that for me, where I'm like, hey, I don't want to fucking play that. Yeah. You're like, okay.
100% fair.
Yeah.
We both have done it where it's like we show up with this list and people are like, I'll pass.
One time I showed up to a Gamers Guild and I had a really crushing Stormcast list, and I saw every one of my friends. Ben was like, what'd you bring? Looking at the long strikes, looking at the annihilators. He's like, no, I was trying to have fun tonight. No, I was like, oh, okay, right. I definitely, I see that Varangard list. I see those eels. I'm like, go ahead and put that shit away. Because I'm not playing you. But, but being a good player, being a memorable personality, and that's not being an explosive one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in a bit of an explosive personality. I could be downright annoying sometimes. But I've met some of the most subtle players that are so much fun to play with. I think about Garen from House of Hobbies.
Yep.
Such a cool personality, so much fun to play with. I haven't got to play with him since Scorched Earth, but he was so much fun at Scorched Earth that I remember it to this day. And if Garen was ever like, I need a game, I need somebody to play, I'm first in line. I'm like, hey Garen, I'll play you. And I'm like, I know you're crazy good with that feck, but you're such a fun player to play with. And 100%, make yourself known in the community as a worthy competitor, but also a very fun one.
Agreed.
Thankfully,
I could say that 100%. I love to play Hawkins.
Yeah,
I enjoy playing Hawkins. It's one of those we played Friday and no one else showed up, and Hawkins showed up. Like, dude, we'll play again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm totally cool with it. I love playing.
Yeah, so many good personalities in the House of Hobbies and even like nearby, and people who are going to Gamers Guild on Fridays, people who go to Hobby Forge in this Path to Glory I'm at. So all of them, it's just full of like fun players, and they're at all kinds of different skill levels. There's your really adept players, there's your new players. It's just so much fun. And then there's those people that I'm avoiding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's definitely people I'm ducking. Yeah,
there's the Jeds out there.
Yeah. What sucks is Jed is so nice too. He's so nice. He's a cool dude, but just
man.
Death gonna beat my ass.
Death by 10,000 pillow strikes is still death. Like it's, you know what I mean? There's just certain players who are like boogeymen in the community. You know what I mean? I think of like Cameron and Colt and all these like really adept players, and Henry. Like it's like if you play these guys, you're playing the game on a pretty reasonably difficult setting.
You went to the hard level,
yeah,
exactly.
for sure. It's like now you're playing Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy to think that that's 50 takes, that it's been 50 episodes, that we've probably got 50 more coming for you guys, because this thing isn't slowing down. It's not stopping. We're loving every minute of this, bringing Rolling Recklessly to you guys every week, through the tournaments, through the practice, through the new GHBs, through the new battle tomes and models. We're right here ready to report live for you guys, because this is what we envisioned when we started this, maybe a year or two ago. I said it in our Discord. I said, me and Robert here, me and Grizzly, we had dreams of starting a team, having a podcast, and playing Warhammer at excess. And this is better than our dreams.
This is better than the dreams.
This is better than the dreams, right? And it's rare that life plays out where you get to live out your dream in a way that is more than you expected. And that's what I'm doing here with Grizzly. I need our listeners to know that me and Grizzly are actually brothers. That me and Grizzly actually have true brotherhood and love for one another. I would go to the ends of the earth for this man. I would help him beyond all measure, beyond all self-sacrifice. This is truly a team.
It is, man. Man, I love that, Jesse. It's so sick. And I couldn't imagine closing this episode out any better. I want to just give a big shout out. This 50 episodes, man, it's been a ton of work, ton of effort, and I'm super happy to have you you've been here by my side. Yep. Like you said, this dream, it's been in emotion for a while, you know what I mean? I remember we used to I just remember the one day where we're getting the Skaven Tide box ready, bro, and this is what we were talking about. It was like, hey, bro, this is going to be sick. We're going to do this, and this is going to be awesome. And 50 episodes later, bro.
50 episodes. It started with a Skaven Tide box that I got for 40% off.
I love it.
You know what I mean? Back when Gamer Guild first opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Back when they first opened their doors.
Yeah.
And I got that Skaven Tide box, and we sat in your kitchen, and we built damn near the whole thing in one night, because we were just so on fire for Sigmar. And that fire has not dulled. That fire is still blazing. It's still roaring. Nobody gives me more Sigmar thrill than you. Then when we come together and do these episodes, when we get our weekly game in, there's nobody I root for more in the hobby than you. I want to see your success beyond my own success. I feel like your success is my success. I feel like my failure is your failure.
That measurement is the 100% there. We both got it. We're both with each other. Bro, I just won. You need to win.
This is a hobby where you need one other person. Now, we are blessed to have a community out here in Phoenix, Arizona, and its neighboring cities. But you need one other person, your roll dog, your ride or die, whether that's your wife, your best friend, whether that's somebody you just met. You need one other person to make this thing work. And I know at the end of the day, if I get sick of playing with everybody else, if I get sick of competing, if I just want to play Sigmar privately with one other person, I've got Grizzly. I've got somebody who is there to support me and who is there to have my back. And so if you have a chance to just hook one more person in on this, do it. Robert went through great lengths to get me onto this. He really did. He wanted this for us. And nobody does more work behind the scenes for Rolling Recklessly, for Team Reckless, than Robert here. Whether it's the jerseys, whether it's writing the scripts, whether it's editing the episodes, Grizzly is putting in that work. So I want you all to know that I appreciate Grizzly. that this thing is not going to stop. This thing is going. Grizzly keeps this machine oiled and running, and I'm here to make sure that he never loses spirit, that he never doubts this mission that we're on, because this is truly something that is special. Age of Sigmar needs a voice in the Southwest, in America, and I feel like me and Grizzly are that voice. So if you are supporting us, if you've liked, if you've shared, if you've commented, you need to get in our Discord, Rolling Recklessly Podcast. You need to get in our Instagram, Rolling_Recklessly_podcast. You need to let us know that you're here, because 50 episodes in, I feel closer to you guys than I've ever felt to any other community I've ever been a part of. And, I've been on sports teams, I've been in martial arts, I've been in wrestling. You get really close to your peers, I feel that connection with Sigmar.
Agreed.
I feel that connection with the people around me. I feel like I'm on a team. I feel like all of my listeners, all of the people that play with me regularly, we are as close as family now.
I do. Man, that's a solid way to close it, bro. We started this because we love Warhammer.
Yep.
We love getting in games with the boys. We love building this community. 50 episodes later, it's still crazy to see how many people are like chilling with us, rolling with us. So we love you guys, man. Thank you guys. We appreciate you so much. I'm happy that we could hit 50 episodes, and I can't wait to do another 50, another 100 more. Let's go.
Whether you've listened to one episode, whether you've listened to all 50, there's only one way for Grizzly to take us out.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. Everyone else, may your crits be high, your paint never dry, and your rolls ever reckless.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to Rolling Recklessly.